characters that we're going to use, or are those just like samples?
Those are some pre-gen characters I just slapped in there just so I can have them in the lobby.
Oh, okay.
They're more than just starting level characters. They're starting level characters with a little extra cash and less stuff than a starting character comes with if you go with the equipment packages.
Okay, I haven't had a chance to get on Skype today, so I'm kind of like going through stuff.
Okay, no problem. This is session 0. It's all about bashing out ideas and throwing things out there. I mean, if David comes to the table with a fully fledged out character already, he's crazy, man. That's just saying.
Is that so?
That makes me wonder if Evan
So,
came to the table.
Do you have an idea for the entire campaign, or?
So that's, because it is session 0, so we've got questions to throw out there. So, I know David has played Twilight Imperium, right? As I'm wondering if we have not heard his response yet. He's in the chat.
Are you muted, David?
David, you might be muted. As his response
Can you hear us?
is very muted. See, for a second there, I was like ridiculously happy. Everybody's Skype behaved. We all got in. Everything was going smooth. And then we lost David. Let me send him a message on the Book of Faces real quick.
He's typing, according to... I can see everyone, but don't see anyone talking. Wow. Skype almost got it right.
So it looks like he just dropped, so he's probably checking his stuff and coming back.
See.
So, does anyone else, because I'm pretty sure David's played Twilight Imperium. Does anybody else have Twilight Imperium experience?
I have played it like twice. That's a long game.
I have only played it twice casually because it is a ridiculously long game. It's a one game for your entire day game.
Yes.
Oh, so it's originally a board game.
Yep,
yes.
It's conveniently originally a board game that is very similar to the Dune board game that came out right before that they got the rights to, that they totally reskinned everything. It's totally reskinned down. At least that's my opinion from what I've seen with some of the names and stuff. But that's just my opinion.
I haven't played the Dune board game. I've always felt it was like Masters of Orion. The video
What's
game.
wrong with Masters of Orion?
Nothing.
Just
I'm saying Twilight Imperium, the board game, feels like that.
It's a very in-depth game.
Yeah, 2 to 12 hours.
Back when I was younger and could think and memorize star charts, I really liked Masters of Orion.
It's a good game. I love it.
If you have the time and inclination, yeah. I unfortunately don't have that much time anymore. So for Twilight Imperium, I should say, Embers of the Imperium is the RPG based on the board game. So the idea is that there was this, horrible but at the time great empire that was out there. The Lazax Empire basically found originally back in the galaxy. There's these assholes called the Gene the Gene Shapers. Really bad guys, the Mahakt Kings. They basically ruled everything and constantly turned people into their puppets on a regular basis. Well, the Lazax Empire was basically your Roman Empire. If you look from human history, that's totally what the Lazax were four-armed Romans that had this great ability that they took out the evil Mech kings, basically wiped them out of existence according to what everybody thought, and then decided to make an empire of the galaxy. And they conquered pretty much all of the galaxy. Sol was one of the last groups added to the empire, and basically it was the join us or die until you join us, because they assimilate a culture and then they'd use that culture against the next culture, just like Roman Empire. Well, eventually they had a bunch of you have a 30,000-year empire. You're gonna go Caligula at some point. So the last emperor was basically not the best emperors in controlling his kingdom, and there was many little outbreaks that happened. Like humans' first rival debris when they went to space was the Leviks, which is basically space drow. They come from a planet with no sun, they're dark skinned, they have pointy ears, and they're like dual wielding blades. It's totally space drow. And those guys got assimilated by the Empire and then totally said, hey, those people that live on Sol, those guys are jerks, let's go after those guys next. So the humans were the last ones introduced into the Empire. They were also the first ones to draw blood on the Empire in a civil war. Because one of the other races, the Hyrule, they're basically these little tiny aquatic guys. Like if you've ever seen Mandalorian, the little mechanics that tried to fix IG, they're about that size but aquatic. And the Emperor got pissed at them for some shenanigans that happened that wasn't their fault. So on the sly, they gave humans special warp drives, which at the fall of the Empire let the humans literally spacefold right above the Emperor's homeworld, and they glazed the planet. Emperor, the head of the snake was killed in one shot. And then, of course, you have the Dark Ages that happen because now there's no Emperor, and the Empire is dying, and everyone who hates the Lazax totally took this as an excuse to go after them and kill their oppressors. And then they went back to all their petty rivalries and all that good stuff. And that was the Dusk Wars that resulted in everybody losing the galaxy-wide communication network and all that good stuff. And then they went back to their Dark Ages. And then eventually, the Custodians are basically an entire race that the Lazax groomed to be their caretakers, their servants, all kinds of deal like that they decided the galaxy needs stability. And a few of the other races are like, the galaxy needs stability. So they came together and made the Keleres, excuse me, which is the alliance that will basically peacekeep in this giant, massive galaxy. It is horribly underfunded. It is horribly undermanned because every culture submits their people to work. And it's usually people begrudgingly being submitted to work. So not everybody that's fighting for this good cause gives a crap about this good cause. They could actually be working for their own agenda. As I joke with folks, this is more like Babylon 5 than Star Wars, because everybody's doing their own thing for their own agenda, which, on the plus side, just like in Star Wars where your characters have obligations to get extra experience or cash, in this game system they came up with agendas, which is a more character-driven, deeper aspect than obligations, because your agenda basically has a number of goals you have to complete. It doesn't have to be completed in one session. It's basically your campaign's goal to do that. And when you complete it, there's a big, massive payoff, which is nice. Like you get a lost relic or 75 experience. There's always a big chunk payoff for completing your agenda. And it's
So
totally up.
is it more like Babylon 5, or is it more like the bad era of the Game of Thrones wall?
I would say more like Babylon 5, because Game of
Okay.
Thrones is way more throat cutty. This one is, say, like in the pre-gen characters, there's one character for the one-shot demo they have that his thing is he wants to beat the Mahawk Kings, because they're basically gene engineers that can enslave you with literally a wave of a hand. A crowd of 30, 40 people mutate into their slaves and do whatever they say, no free will. They're not even their original race. They now turn into this blank thing that the gene manipulators do. So that character wants to do anything to screw those guys.
Uh-huh.
In the adventure, there's a bad guy who is a L1Z1X, which basically the L1Z1X are your Lazaks, the last of their species, basically. Because across the galaxy, all the races, species committed genocide against them because they're assholes. You know, they're literally Roman occupiers in their cultures. And think when Rome fell, how quickly all the cultures of the known world of Europe changed the Roman nomenclatures of their communities, you know. So these guys went off to they saw the writing on the wall that the kingdom was gonna go. They left. They basically had to become Borgs to survive on the planet they went to. They created a hive mind that they have to use to basically give people skill sets, so they can literally turn a drone and change his channel so he has whole new skill sets. Their ships are just like the Borg, that they don't have control panels like most other races would. They actually have a socket that they jack into to take over that control node. And anything a L1Z1X sees or hears is transmitted to the mind net, which is basically their version of the Borg's collective. And of course, as many races have discovered with them, they do horrible other things, like they will forcibly put one of those spikes in your head to make you part of the mind net, whether you want to or not. And then they totally trigger dopamine, fear, or pleasure sensations to help reinforce the mind control. It's not mind control, they just reward you for doing what you're supposed to do. So you do a good job
And punish you for not.
Yep, you get a dopamine rush. You don't do a good job, all of a sudden you get fidgety paranoia going. See, that's the sound people make when the L1Z1X come around. And they literally look like Borgs. The flesh parts that they have are exceptionally degraded and very withered and skeletal looking. Like most of them have very, very zombie-ish faces. Like I'll totally sneak in here, and if you look at my picture, that's one of them. They got 4 arms, but most of them have Borg-like appendages, and they basically have very little flesh and blood necks. You know, they are part of the collective. They actually came and sued to get a seat at the table, saying, "Hey,
Right.
we're what's left of the Empire. You're on our throne world. We should actually be worshipped by y'all." And of course, everybody's like, "No, you're not. You're abominations." The old caretakers that took care of the Emperor and family looked at them and said, "Nope, you're evil. You are not good. The Emperor would have nothing to do with you." And the L1Z1X kind of brought a problem with them into the universe, which is called the necrovirus. One of their cyborgs tried to up the game and say, "Why don't we just do away with the flesh and blood parts and go straight analog, go straight digital?"
Uh-huh.
And created a little cult amongst his own people, where he basically forced cyberized people and then turned his body into a nanomachine factory, so he could literally go full Borg, where classic Star Trek, where they come up and stick people with the needles and they turn into Borgs.
Right.
His cult was doing that shit. Well, eventually he gave up flesh and became basically a nanobot virus. And the collective, the N1Z1X would have totally been in the galaxy a lot earlier than 11 years ago, but they had a civil war happen because this guy turned into basically a nanobot plague. And it took the creator of their species, who's still alive, buried on the planet that they live on, as part of the hardware that runs the planet. He had to actually hack every member of the collective of the MindNet to beat this nanovirus all at once. So basically, he extinguished this nanovirus all at once across dozens of planets using the mind net. Totally fried his personality. They don't know if he's still around there or if he's totally ingrained himself on every member of the society, because that's totally a thing that could happen. But they believed they wiped out the necrovirus. The galaxy, unfortunately, now that the L1Z1X showed up and said, give us the Empire or give us a seat at the table, they were given a seat at the table, and they, collectively, someone found out that the necrovirus managed to get out of their system and crashed onto a planet that they then assimilated. So the necrovirus is usually not bad, but everyone loses their shit when that gets discovered in an area. Because the problem is, it doesn't do anything to organics because it hates them with a passion, but any tech you have on you immediately gets assimilated. So think of it like the T-1000 in the Terminator series, where all of a sudden you have a cool piece of tech and it touches it and it's now its piece of tech. Your weapon stops working. Your vehicle now tries to kill you because it's been infected by them. And of course, in a space-drunk society, people fear robots that can jump on your ship and hack it. Great example is Battlestar Galactica, the new series, where they had that episode where they explain why no ships have internet across them, because Cylons could easily get on the ship and space everyone, totally like David has done in Star Wars. Oh, was that David's laugh?
Yeah, I'm here. Been listening.
Okay. And so that's the Mahect Kings. Then we've got the L1Z1X. Then we have the Necrovirus. And the fourth big bad in the galaxy is the demonic Velrath. Basically, there's a tear in space and time, which, by the way, there's lots of them in this galaxy. And basically, demons came through. They're not one of the big bads in my opinion. They're just a freaking nuisance because they open rifts and kill and take people and eat people and mutate people. But they're not as, in my opinion, as big bad as the first three. Because you've got the L1Z1X that pretty much hate every race because they all lived on their little planet for 1,000 years watching newsreels of every other species killing their race off while they were hiding. That'll jack up anybody's day. And of course, the fact that these jerks have no problem putting a nail in the back of your head and either turning you into a sensory drone or not letting you know that you're giving them all the information you know. The necrovirus that wants to, of course, wipe out all the organics and, make an inorganic world, except for there is a race called the Titans that are actually sentient organic. They're not organic, but their cybernetic robot bodies actually live and grow. Because they were made by the Mahect Kings as their, pinnacle of creation. But when the Mahect Kings woke up a little while ago, because some yo-hos went to their planet and said, hey, what's this Stargate that's buried do? And they opened it and realized the Mahect Kings were on the other side of a gate, hiding in suspended animation, waiting for someone stupid to follow their orders because they left genetic programming in the galaxy to find this homeworld. And it's paradise, and everything good lives here. So anyone wants to explore and open this gate, do it. Everybody doesn't remember that the dog goes nuts in the background. As the empire that took out them buried the Stargate. Totally had records saying don't open the Stargate, but some guy burned the library and burned those records. So later species didn't realize this. Totally opened up the gates to paradise, which actually let the big bad guys back into the galaxy. There's only 100 of them, which is a good thing. And sometimes they plot against each other, which is an even better thing. But, they are out there, and they are think of them as the shadows in Babylon 5. They do exist. There's proof that they exist. And every race hates them for some reason or another. But as I totally got sidetracked, there is a pre-gen character that will let an L1Z1X escape because the guy wants to stop the Met Kings as much as they do. So that player would totally be like, dude, get the hell out of here. Go. Tell me about a super weapon later. Whereas in the pre-gens, there's a human who's lost her leg to the L1Z1X. and has the passion to murder them on sight. I mean, that's totally one of her agendas, is to kill on sight. So, first question I had for Session 0 is, out of the 4 big bads, we got mysterious, uber powerful guys, which you probably only ever see one in your lifetime, if that. Totally think of them as Doctor Doom. The L1Z1X, which are basically evil Borg, which make for great villains. The Necrovirus, or the demonic Volrath. Which 2 of those in the campaign do we want to play with? I mean, you may run into 1 or 2 of the others, but for the campaign to be focused, which 2 of those 4 do you guys like?
I've got the 2 middle ones, the Necrovirus and the Borg.
Which is, of course, funny because they hate each other with a passion because they both know what each other are.
That's my vote.
Yeah, works for me.
Sure.
Because nobody wants to deal with the big scary guys that can wave their hand and turn you into a faceless zombie thing with claws that spreads the infection, right?
Yeah, that.
Well, I mean,
Not
that
preferred.
does sound fun, but
I mean, if you've ever read any of the Star Wars stuff with Rakghouls, basically that's what they turn things into, is blank, gray-faced, no-featured Rakghouls that spread what they have. And listen, you know, I would. They don't even have in the rules how to defend against it as a player. It's just a narrative thing they do, which is super dangerous.
It's pretty evil.
But it sounds like it's unanimous. You want to deal with the L1Z1X and the Necrovirus?
Yeah.
Which,
at the same time.
Which I would totally throw it out there that you can totally use that against, like, hey, L1Z1X, there's Necrovirus on that ship. And they will, as a collective, ignore you as a secondary threat to that. I will totally throw that one out there, that you can
Nice.
you can drop, you know, just drop a, hey guys, your actual diametric opposite is right over there.
You don't want us.
They're
Look.
basically playing against each other.
And besides, you don't want to be a full conversion cyborg and have a virus that can infect your equipment, since you are equipment. So on my Session 1 notes, we will have the Mahect Kings will be just a background threat. And the demonic Valwraith will be bad news on the internet. Demons landed on a planet. They suck. They are evil. So then the next question is, what careers and species were you guys thinking?
I was leaning toward the drop soldier or the shepherd, but I'm not sure about a species yet.
Oh, I'm looking over species first. I haven't seen the.
So let me pop open my book, and I will totally let you know, by the way, if you buy a hard copy of Embers of the Empire, you totally get a free code for the PDF, which is great. It is in
Nice.
the book. You get a free PDF if you go to Drive Through RPG.
Ooh. Okay. I don't know if you're going to like this, but taking a quick look at everybody, I kind of like the Imperium.
Those are not a playable race. Those are mysterious.
I didn't think so.
Those are mysterious, ominous guys who see shit, know shit, and have a plan of their own. So let me go over the races real quick. First, you're going to have the Crus, which, if you've seen Babylon 5, they're totally the Vorlons. They're energy beings that have to wear suits to contain themselves, but they can actually come out of their suit and do some incorporeal stuff. Their big dealio is they're very weak physically. They get some cool skills. They're incorporeal. They have insubstantial form, so it's harder to heal them. They have ethereal awareness. Once per session, as an out-of-turn incidental, you can spend a story point to have your character become aware of everything that is currently within long range of your character. This includes concealed enemies, hidden pathways, and what is behind sealed doors. Because you basically are like a fourth dimensional energy being. Trust me, when those guys came to the Great Council, they said we get more voting chairs because our population is bigger than all of yours combined. We're an entire dimension. And everyone says that doesn't count. And of course,
When
you
I
get,
read the description, I thought, oh, they're a hyper intelligent shade of blue.
Pretty much.
Then we've got the Dura, which are basically snake from the waist down, very serpentine, got this beautiful crest going sideways, and they're telepathic snakes. I look at them akin to they're that cobra that can lull their target into complacency. Because as a galactic whole, nobody knew they existed in space because spacers got space amnesia when they flew through their areas. And all of a sudden, everyone's like, why does everyone on the ship have amnesia over the last 2 weeks? And they just chalked it up to a syndrome called space amnesia. And it was actually that these serpentines can actually blank your brain with capacity and tools, so no one knew they flew through their space. So with the snake guys, their intellect is their lowest thing. They work on instinct, cunning and wisdom and willpower. So they have mind reading. So as an action, they can make a opposed discipline versus discipline and target one living creature within medium range. If successful, your character knows the target's current thoughts and emotional state. 3 advantage and a triumph can be spent to discover other thoughts or memories up to the GM. In other words, if you've written anything. And they have talents that tweak their powers even more. But totally think of it as Deanna Troi, or even better, her mom when she was on Star Trek Next Gen. Because, they totally are all about they tell people they're clairvoyant, but they're just really good at reading people's minds and planning accordingly. Then there's the Gashlai, which are basically fire creatures. They're a stone cocoon that's surrounded by living fire. And as they age, of course, their cocoon starts burning away and dying. They also come with a environmental suit like the spiritual beings. So you have that nice suit to keep yourself contained so you don't burn all your colleagues when you're out there. They are known for being ridiculously tough and good mechanics because the Hyrule race totally enslaved their planet to build their Death Stars. They have a thing called the Sun Killer. It's totally a Death Star. And they enslaved their whole race to build these things because their planet had the perfect materials. During the Great Wars, when everybody went back into their faction fights, the Gashlai totally built their own and showed up at their planet saying, we finished ours. You left with a barely working prototype to your enemy. We finished ours. And threatened their entire planet to sue for peace of, you guys are never again coming after us. Then there's the Heckin, which are basically cool Lionos. If you've seen Thundercats, those are the Heckins. And they are known for being galactic traders and nomads. They're really great at navigating and really good at making deals. Pretty much think of Dune's Spacer Guild is the Heckins. They're totally the ones that wheel and deal and move things across the galaxy. That's their shtick. Then you've got the humans, which are jerks and the galactic average. The twos across the board. They start with a couple extra non-career skills. They've got an ability called Enhanced Predator. When a human makes a check to heal strain at the end of an encounter, they get 1 additional strain because they know how to catch their breath. And as adaptable, once per session, your character can make a skill check. You can spend a story point and use any skill with any ability. So basically, you could swap out your highest characteristic, brawn, agility, intellect, cunning, willpower, presence, and use the highest one with your highest skill in combination. Because, you know how to find workarounds.
Because humans can cheat like that.
Humans can cheat like that. And then you've got
They're
the
adaptable.
Hylar, which are these cute little teeny tiny green guys that are about the size of, Grogu. And half of the race is aquatic only, where they have to be in their little fish tank suits. The other half can breathe air and water and also uses the little fish tank suits. Basically, it's a multi-limbed piece of body armor that lets you do, things. You can even go out in space while wearing this or in hostile environments because you're in the fish tank inside it. And they are ridiculously smart. There's a reason why the picture has their head being bigger than their entire body practically. They start with an intel of 4, but their physical stats suck. They have two knowledge skills right off the bat. Vast intellect that once per session you can spend a story point, and as an incidental before you make a skill roll, you can count as having ranks in that skill equal to your intellect. So they start with intellect 4, so they can throw out for a story point that they have 4 ranks in any skill they have, which is they put their big brain to work. And they totally run the galaxy's HoloNet and internet. So when their society went on boycott, bad things happened. They shut everybody's online poker games down.
Tech support.
Yep. They were totally blamed back in the old Empire days. There was a virus that made robots kill their masters. They were totally blamed that they created the virus as an intentional thing. It was actually an individual did it, but the whole race was punished by the emperor. Like I said, towards the end, their emperor went total Caligula and was blaming people and, doing bad shit to people just because he felt that way. Then we have the Letnev, which are totally space drow. They're very arrogant, very imperialistic. It's the barony of Letnev. I mean, they literally call their community after their race. And it used to be a bunch of baronies that fought each other until they discovered Earth and they fought Earth and then they got consumed by the Empire. And then they're totally like, these guys suck, let's go after Earth.
That's what I'm leaning toward, actually.
Yep. It's a great race. I mean, they have a cool sword that actually turns into 2 swords. It's totally the drow saber thing. With them, they get 1 rank in a combat skill, and they have unmatched arrogance. When a Letnev makes a leadership or coercion check, they can add a success to the results. When a Letnev makes a charm or negotiation, they add a threat to the results.
Kind of fun.
And then you have the Nor. Basically, it's a collective insect race that worships the queen as a divine being, or the actual queen, even though nobody's actually seen her. They totally worship her and say they do what she wants them to do. They actually have a crusade against their race that doesn't believe in the queen.
You're chopping up a little bit.
Sorry about that. Is that better?
Yeah.
Okay.
They're big bugs.
They're big
beetles.
bugs, yeah. I mean, every aspect of their species is bugs. And Nor starts with athletics and rugged biology that once per session they can spend a story point and have their character heal a critical injury with a 1 or 2 purple dice average difficulty. So basically they take a licking and keep on ticking. Space cockroaches. And the creepiest one of the group is the Naz Roka, which the Naz Roka are 2 species that work together. They basically are like mentally and spiritually bonded. It's a tiny monkey riding a panther person. It's totally Master Blaster as an entire species. Their planets are tied together in a binary orbit, and the 2 species literally have created this conjoined bonding that they do together. And a lot of times when one dies, the other can die. And if you play them, you are in for a trip because you're playing 2 characters. Super trippy. And they have like ridiculous amounts of things with their symbiotic partnership and their symbiotic operation. They've got the little guy who's silhouette 0 and the big guy who's silhouette 1. They've got the bad news: if someone dies, you have to choose to retire the character. or find another member of the race to bond with, but that's like ridiculously rare. Then you've got the SAR, which I'm not quite looking at the different pictures. They're either wolf people or bear people. They kind of have different muzzles and different pictures. So they're basically known for being space nomads. They don't have a homeworld of their own. They live as a spacer, and they recently have found an asteroid belt that they're calling their own. They're basically really rugged space folks. They're good with navigating in space. And also, as a resourceful member of their race, once per session they can spend a story point and repair one item that they're engaged with as an incidental, fixing all damage and restoring it to full functionality, or have your character inflict major damage on one item they're engaged with as an incidental. So you can either sabotage or fix. There's a reason why they lived as spacers for so long. What was it, Titan AE? You see them, living out there as spacers. That's what these guys do on a regular basis. And one of the races I'm a fan of is the Shikari. They're basically bird people. Many, many different bird species. So you got eagles, owls. They basically are one of the oldest races that ran into the gene manipulators, and that's probably got to do with the fact that they're all these bird people. And they hate them with a passion. And they've got some interesting stuff like special trick arrows for their bow that's like their racial weapon. Does very little damage, has Pierce 6, and then you can use trick arrows. Do things to your targets. Like you shoot them, you do damage, and then something bad happens. For them, they get coordination because they're super agile. They're like one of the most agile races starting out. But they have very low cunning, which I thought was interesting. And then with their avian agility once per session, they can use their agility characteristic and use that and add, so if they're shooting, jumping, coordinating, anything like that, for a story point, they add 2 successes and 2 advantages to the roll. Which, pretty much, if they want to make sure they succeed in the maze balls, that's how they succeed in maze balls. Then we've got the Titans, which basically, like I said, those were the first biomechanical. They're not biological, but they're mechanically growing as they grow and consume. These things actually turn into my big friendly giant. There's jokes that their homeworld is actually one of them that's grown into the size of a planetoid. And as long as they're functioning, they keep growing. I mean, there's Titans don't have spaceships. They have a big Titan that just straps on booster rockets. And you live inside him moving around as he's transporting you. They are very eco-friendly. They actually, since they woke up, because their evil masters came out of their stasis and said, "Arise, my minions." And the Titans, just like that barking dog, said, "Screw you guys." And when they woke up, they realized in their suspended animation that they were put into as caretakers. Their master said, "Go into sleep just like we are." When we send the signal, "Wake up," in their dormancy of sleeping, they actually broke their code and became sentient, independent creatures. And the nice thing is, now on their planet UI, they actually sent out a signal to help awaken others that weren't already awoken. So one of their big things is always find planets that have Titans and wake those Titans up and bring them into the company. By the way, Titans...
You got a jet taking off, or...
Yeah, Evan, you want to mute real quick?
I just cut it off. I think that was probably it again.
Titans believe they're safe from the necrovirus. Out of character, the necrovirus has found a way, if there's enough nanobots, that they can actually take them over slowly. So there's nothing more terrifying than when a Titan goes all purpley blue to evil red. Because, of course, the necrovirus hates the idea of Titans, because the Titan is the perfect pinnacle of mechanical life, but yet their biggest goal in life is to grow plants and nurture life. They have a serious issue with that. So Titans start with discipline as a skill. They get Titanic, which, by the way, they're silhouette 2, and their encumbrance threshold is +4 because they're big-ass robots. And Titans don't need to breathe and can survive in a vacuum without protection. But they do need sleep time to consume the amounts of silicates and other materials to survive. So you could totally be eating rocks and sand, but you need to eat something. And as if you look at the pre-gens, some characters can get drones. The Titan pre-gen character has those installed in him. The picture that they have, there's actually his drones pop out of his shoulders as extra eyeballs. Titans are cool too because you can do that. And then you've got.
What's the downside of being a Titan?
You're twice the size of everybody else, and biomechanical.
And not agile.
Oh yeah, they have a cunning of 1 and a agility of 1. They've got a brawn of 4 though. They're a brick house, but they have very low
3.
cunning and very low agility because they're awkward, and they're not deceptive. You can totally stat yours out to be deceptive, but as a cultural whole, they are your big, your Iron Giant, the movie. How he was a simple, nice robot when he wasn't in murder mode. You like life. You like to nurture. If you've ever played Overwatch, the battle drone that turns into a tank, total great example of, hey, I'm into nature. Killing people when you got to do it, you got to do it. But into nature. Then we've got the green-skinned Winu. They're the ones that were the Empire's custodians. They're one of the first races that actually said, hey, we would like to be your servant class, and we would like to take care of your empire because that means we're the second in line for authority. They're totally the folks that actually sell themselves into indentured servitude because they want to have the cushy spot. And they are the reason that when you guys are using the homeworld for the old empire, that still exists because they've rebuilt it. Because at first they thought, hey, the empire's coming back. Then they realized, oh crap, we owe it to our ancestors to preserve what's left of the empire. And they were one of the big ones that pushed to get all the races to come back and have a senate where they can basically keep things from going back to the bad place. Because they're all about, they like social order. Especially when they're mostly in charge because they tell you what the rules are. If you've ever known a rules lawyer, that's one of them. I mean, their willpower and their presence is both 3. So for the Winu, they start with 1 rank in leadership, and righteous is their ability. Once per session, when your character is targeted by a skill check, including combat checks and social checks, you can spend a story point to add 3 failures to the result. So when someone is going against you, you immediately can put that finger up and give the Karen look. And 3 failures on their end of whatever they're doing, combat or social. And then for those that like dinosaurs, there's the Zacha, which is a
Turtles.
reptilian. What's that?
They're turtles.
Yep, they're basically turtles without a shell. They totally have that turtle beak face. Apparently, for the longest time, they're a very peaceful race. They were very Tortolan, as I joke with some people with D&D, because they're that chill turtle of let's talk out our problems. That's totally their life set. Until the end of the Twilight Wars, when everybody was killing everybody, they're just like, someone burned our planet to a crisp. That's never happening again. One of their big things with a lot of their species is they want to find a way to fix their planet, which totally ties in with the Titans of please come to my planet and regrow it, because holy crap, my planet looks like crap. So their goal was, after their planet got destroyed, ecosystem-wise, to this nasty, burnt, muddy, soggy, swampy, smoggy place, they decided this will never happen again. And sort of like with Israel, they basically militarized, and the newer generation's like, nope, we will fight to the last of our species to keep this from ever happening again. One of the good things with them is...
To them or to anybody?
To them. They always will want to talk before they fight because they're good at that. But that's just because as a species, they talk stuff out before they get violent. As a character, you can totally say, I'm not taking that approach anymore. That didn't work for my forefathers. And you can totally be a shoot person as a character, but generally they would like to talk. they do make really good liaisons. So for their abilities, they get 1 rank in vigilance and extremely tough, which is ridiculous because they usually are pretty tough. Once per session, after your character has been hit by an attack, you can spend a story point to double your soak, while resolving damage dealt by the attack. The soak is doubled before reducing any item qualities. So if you have pierce or breach weapons, it's doubled before you add the pierce or breach. So if you have like a soak 5, it's actually soak 10. But of course, piercing and breach still affects. But they're ridiculously hardy, tough guys. And then the super creepy ones, the Yasarl. They're
goblins.
basically little green pygmy goblins. Their planet used to grow this really tasty root that the Empire used to love, so they kept sending colonists there, and colonists kept dying and things, and they didn't know why. And then they eventually realized these little green goblins that can chameleon their skin lived on the planet without them even knowing it for hundreds of years. And after the galaxy in general discovered these little turds, they basically became the assassin and spy network for the entire galaxy. Their leading class in their culture is basically the Assassin's Guild. And anytime you see someone with one of these little green guys, you know they're there to kill somebody, probably. It's not a bodyguard, it's not a technician, it's there to kill somebody. They are super, super high. They've got cunning of 4 is their big thing. And they start with 1 rank of stealth. And as they are a chameleon, once per session, you can spend a story point to add 2 successes to a stealth check, or 2 failures to a vigilance or perception check if someone's rolling to spot something. And conveniently, the galaxy found out not too long ago, but the Dural, those telepathic snakes, actually have a long-standing relationship with the Yarsal.
Ooh.
That was how they were basically getting a lot of equipment on their planet, even though they were not part of the galaxy. They had faster-than-light drives when they made their galactic appearance. So there's a secret relationship between the two that nobody knows for sure what it is. So that's the major races, which, by the way, for a setting book, that is a ridiculous number of races.
Yeah. The game is like that, so.
Yep.
The board
Yeah.
game, so.
They've pulled in as much of the game as they could in one book. And the nice thing is any race can do any career, so that's a good thing too.
Yeah, no limitations.
I think I'm interested in either the Hector or the Winu.
The
Hekon?
Hakon, the tigers or the lions.
Yeah.
They are
Oh
really
my.
good if you want anything spacey in your character. Like the NPC, the player character, the pre-gen, I should say, they pop up. They totally do a Hakon Wayfarer because that totally complements together. Because you get the piloting skill, which, by the way, piloting is used for most small ships. Yes, you'll be getting a ship at one point, and it will be a small ship. Operating is used on the big ships. Think of it like the big
Capital ship.
cruise ships. The capital ship of the line type ships. But they do make very good wayfarers. And they do have a nice, they got this Bedouin culture feel to them. And a lot of traditional weapons. Like they've got each race, if you look at the equipment section, I like how they didn't make lots of reprinting. They actually printed up a 2-page Excel sheet page that says, here are the races and what their specific things do. So it gives you bonuses or minuses to their race. And then the weapons as the generic template. So it's pick that weapon, pick that bonus, put them together. That way they're not reprinting a ton of the same material.
Okay, so where are the professions?
So the
It
professions.
follows
comes right after the races, and I can go over those real quick. I even have a cheat sheet for that one. You've got the captain, which is good with space navigation, coercion, discipline, gunnery, science, leadership, operating, and piloting. So if you want to be in a big ship, they're really good for that because they can totally take over all the roles on the big ship. And of course, they get the suggestions for equipment: a pistol or a blade, spacesuit, a savant, or a mecha familiar, which basically it's a mechanical assistant for helping you do things.
Okay,
And then-
did you post the regular book?
Yeah, it's in the Skype.
This is getting
Did
ahead
I
of
not
things a
go
little
fast
bit.
far enough? Character sheet.
It's like way up in the conversation, but I'll repost it for you. It'll take a few though.
This is getting ahead, I think, but it's just a general question. I was looking ahead and seeing like equipment and gear from different cultures. Is that going to be a thing? Like all gear, or just certain things, or?
If you tell me, because when you're picking gear, you can totally say I've got a blaster from this species, or I've got a shutter blade from this species. I would think you'd probably want to pick your own species.
Yeah, there is a
starting
disadvantage
to everyone.
if you're using another race's equipment. There's like a disadvantage. I think it said it adds a black, I believe. Unless you have familiarization with the
There's
races.
totally a talent that helps you with that one too. It says I am faction. Then there's the covert imp, your typical spy. They've got brawl, computer, coordination, deception, melee, skullduggery, and so it's your typical ninja, Their starting equipment is the collapsible blade, covert armor skin. And then, of course, everybody, if you go with the equipment package, I would recommend going with the packages because you get more than just if you were to buy these individual items. Instead of using the rule for here's your cash, spend it as you want, the packages gear you up to do what you need to do. Then there's the field scholar, which is jack of all trades scholar, which is the knowledge one of your choice: medicine, melee, operating, perception, and skullduggery. And I still laugh that field scholars start with a collapsible blade. Sometimes the professor's got to cut somebody. And
Sometimes.
then there's the Keleres investigator, which that's a good catch-all for you guys because it's basically all the missions you can be sent on. They have the skill set for those missions regardless. It's the computers, driving, knowledge, culture, leadership, perception, range light, streetwise, and vigilance. And then you've got the Keleres liaison, which is if you want a face character that talkie, they are great at that. They have the deception, discipline, knowledge, culture, negotiation, range light, and streetwise. So yes, they totally got the range light, so when negotiations go south. And I am happy to say that in this book, there's totally a gun negotiation ability that if you are threatening someone with a weapon, there's a bonus to your social attack. They have finally made an official, instead of the GM saying, sure, you get a blue dice because you're waving a baseball bat in their face. Now there's actually a better turnaround of instant successes. Then you have the orbital drop soldier, which is the generic catch-all. This is the soldier that you send into space. It's your space marine. They've got athletics, coercion, because that way they've got the coercion for the intimidation, which is nice. Discipline, gunnery, melee, ranged heavy, survival, and vigilance. They're the ones that you send when gun negotiation is time. Then you've got the shepherd, like Evan mentioned. It's basically a bodyguard type character. Somebody
Yeah,
who's
we're
there to
back and forth between those two.
someone who's there to keep people alive. So it's athletics, discipline, driving, knowledge, culture, medicine, because you may have to do emergency medical care, ranged light, resilience, and vigilance. They're the ones that are there to keep somebody alive. I mean, it could totally be your Zoe to your Mal. It's the fighter who keeps the captain alive. Then you've got the trail stalker, which is your wilderness type character. They've got cool, coordination, perception, ranged, heavy, resilience, stealth, and survival. They are absolutely scary when you combine them with one of those little green goblins. Just saying. And then you have the Wayfarer, which, as I mentioned earlier, is your spacey travel guide. Like if you're looking for a space trader, that's totally the Wayfarer. They have astrocartography, which is the astrogation of the system, charm, gunnery, knowledge, lore, mechanics, negotiating, piloting, and streetwise. So in a pinch, they technically have all the skills necessary to fly there, negotiate, pick the spot on a map, fix the ship when it's broken, and get the heck out of there. So that is the careers. And of course, in classic sci-fi opera-ish, my usual thing is who's going to be the piloty guy, mechanics guy, computers guy, and talkie guy. Which totally can be split. Like in the pre-gens, they did a good job of having the liaison person was good at charm. The Wayfarer was good at negotiation and deception, and the drop soldier was good with the coercion and the leadership. Because of course that character also went with the not scathing tirade, but the opposite one, inspiring rhetoric. So they use their leadership skills to basically buff the team. And in the talent section, there are some race or faction specific talents, as well as every other talent in all of the Genesis system. And I will totally let you guys know, first session when you get a ship, it will be an unarmed ship, because I'm totally going to mirror the quick start, that you guys get a ship that's fast and small, but does not have weapons on it.
What?
Which means you'll be trading that ship as quickly as you can, because, damn it, the company is poor and gets whatever ships they can get when they can get them. Oh, and I'll also add to the list medicine, because we all know in Genesis
Travesty.
how
That's
important
why,
medicine
yeah,
is.
that was kind of what I was thinking as a shepherd, kind of like dual, a little bit of combat, a little bit of like medicine type stuff.
Yeah, it's a good all-around class, because it covers keeping somebody alive, and when stuff hits the fan, you're capable. When big stuff hits the fan, you say I'm leaving. You leave. But then again, for what type of missions you'd be sent on, that's a good thing. Now, I will let you know in this setting, faster than light travel is nowhere near as good as Star Wars. So traveling to one place that's off the beaten path is like 3 weeks of travel time, which is totally a screen swipe. And if you have anything important to do, let me know, because we're screen swiping to that end of that 3 weeks. So calling for help is most likely not going to get you anything unless you're calling in a marker with somebody. And that's probably your own factions, type of deal. And speaking of factions, there are a ton of factions. You don't have to follow your species faction, by the way. So if you want to be someone who's secretly working with another faction, you can totally do that. Hopefully it's a faction that works with you, because I'd hate if somebody says they're working with the L1T1X. Why do you have a mine shunt in your bunk? Oh, I keep that to break ice when we have cocktails. As it's this nasty little, like, lighter sized piece of material with a needle that sticks into your brain. Go to sleep, it's fine, it's fine. So we've definitely agreed on the L1Z1X and the necrovirus, because those are good baddies. One is constantly plotting, and the other is just out there to eat everything technological. Oh god, I just thought about it. If they ever capture a heckin' ship and get inside the cargo containers and just let the heckins Amazon them across the galaxy. Please, deliver us around the galaxy. So, Evan, you're thinking Shepard is settling down to be a good, tasty class?
Yeah, I think that it's that or drops soldier. Depending on what other people want to be, I'm going to kind of leave that part of it open. I'm leaning toward a Latin shepherd, or like I said, or drop.
As you go with the Letnev Shepherd, and anytime something bad happens, everyone looks at him. I didn't do it. I can promise you there's no evidence to prove I did it. It's all been destroyed. Anybody got any other suggestions they're thinking of?
I'm thinking either wayfarer or a captain.
That's fine.
Okay. Both would be very strong for the group. Because the Galactic Council will be sending you out places, and having that ability is a good thing. And remember, as a catch-all, you guys are galactic peacekeepers for the most part. You know, there's a lot of times a little investigation, a little bit of fighting, and a whole lot of transporting and talking people down off the edge. And if only you had a better handling when it comes to support staff, that would be great. But unfortunately, it's like everything else. Trying to requisition something, good luck with that. I will totally. Let me flip pictures here in the Roll20 chat and show you what your headquarters looks like.
Ooh.
Wow.
Secretol Rex, that's your headquarters. And notice on the top of the picture there, all the wreckage and rubble. That's what the humans did. And this is considered an amazingly intact spot.
That's why it's all underground.
Yeah, pretty much this planet is a wasteland that will, Titans will be spending the rest of their millennia trying to fix what was done to this planet. Because Sol made sure when they cut the snake's head off, they cut the snake's head off, buried it, broke the fangs off, and made sure that to sun dry the venom gland so it never worked again. And of course, we're talking a galaxy with hundreds and hundreds of billions of people, and this is the police force that protects the galaxy, is this one location.
Little understaffed, yeah.
Little understaffed. On the plus side, down in the caves below, there's some Titans that are totally growing plenty of food to feed everybody.
That's nice.
So I'm thinking either field scholar or covert infiltrator.
So ninja or know-it-all?
Yeah.
idea on which race, piques your curiosity?
I kind of like either the fish or the birds.
If you're looking for agility-based weapons, the birds all the way. If you're thinking the field specialist, the high roll all the way.
Yeah.
With their
So
big
either a
range,
bird
the
ninja
ability
or
to
a
say, I have
fish.
skill in everything. Because that's what their racial ability is. They can literally say, I've got ranks in that. I stayed at a Best Western once. I mean, their home planet is called the university. So. There's a reason why every species in the galaxy likes them, because they need them for IT at one point or another.
In the game, they share their tech with everybody and make tech all the time on the board game.
They know how to make themselves indispensable. The Twilight Imperium concept of, yes, I will turn 2 sheep into clay for you.
So what was Scott going with again?
Either wayfarer or captain, depending upon what's necessary.
Okay, I'll commit to the fish scientist unless somebody else wants. I didn't hear anybody say scientist, so.
Yeah, no science mechanic type.
I mean, on the plus side, a high-row field scientist does fill lots of slots. You can be both mechanic and medic and computer guy, just right off the bat.
Okay, I will. I'll be a fish scientist.
And then one of the big things you get to decide is, are you aquatic or are you hybrid, both aquatic and air breathing? If you pick strictly aquatic, you actually get 5 more experience. I personally, as a role player, would say, screw that crap. I want to breathe air just in case. Sometimes a dude wants to get out of the fish tank. I'm just saying. The idea of a little tiny hyro with those webbed feet flopping around, walking like, a duck, you just want to see that on your ship. So I did throw out there, and I did it with 109XY. That's a character that's one of those nasty L1X1 guys.
Oh wow.
So on that list of diplomacy, politics, construction, technology, trade, warfare, which is apparently put twice because players want a warfare, is there any of those that you don't want to see happening in the game?
Where was this again?
In Roll20.
What's the difference between the warfares?
Absolutely
Nothing.
none. Just I typed warfare twice.
Fair. I have nothing against any of them.
One's nice warfare, the other's not.
One's the warfare where you create an ion bomb to capture some necrovirus and then you ship the package to your enemy. Oh man, I could see some real D-bag guy get a N1Z1's head, put a container in the mouth full of the virus and ship the head back. Ooh. Especially if you've made a Faraday cage so he couldn't transmit its last messages, so they know that they need that head for the info inside it. Ugh. I'm a bad person, I know it.
Yeah, the necrovirus in the board game, the only way they get tech is by destroying other technology, basically destroying other ships. It's the only way you get tech in the board game with that race.
Because sadly, when they were created, they were told by their maker they were perfect. So they don't need to create anything. So innovation is not in their mindset. So
Makes sense.
Hyrule, thank you everything that you've donated to their memory banks, because there's a couple nasty pieces of equipment that the Hyrule have created, and Necrovirus just comes up and says, "Thank you very much." That's
yay.
vicious. I never would have thought of that until I saw you use it. And on the plus side, we have a big bad that's totally unnegotiable with. It's just that horrible cosmic thing that you know is out there somewhere. Worst thing ever, having a necro needler smash into your ship when you're, couple, transporters, and you look at the manifest and go, "It's servant droids that we're transporting." Not anymore. It's all
I have a
Go for it.
I have an important to the game question. What is the trait to steal the story points?
They don't have that with these racials.
Oh,
That was a human
In
type
Genesis, it was
character
a
trait.
type 1 basic human.
oh,
But don't worry, it's
oh well.
Genesis, so you guys get a point for each of you, and I get a single point. So you come off ahead.
Nice. Yeah, nice try though. I like that. Like, oh, how do I steal that? Like, yeah, no.
I
He's
just
got
it was so
one. Let's
useful.
give it back. Hey, it's a ridiculously useful ability. I'm gonna spend it, and I'll take that back. Thank you. And I figured for this game, for shits and giggles, we'll totally do the both sides can flip on the same roll.
Uh oh.
But there is apparently the caveat there of if I'm out of points and you flip one, I cannot flip on that roll because I was at 0 at the beginning of that action.
Makes sense.
Which is totally fair because that way somebody's not being chintzy about you get it and then I flip it back. Because it just means more chaos is going to happen on the roll. And it's Twilight Imperium. It's a galaxy full of brushfire chaos. I mean, look at your headquarters. The planet is a dumpster fire.
The question I would have with that is that what's to stop every roll being a flip?
Nothing.
Nothing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
I mean,
when you look at Mechatol Rex, this is the only part of the planet that's actually habitable. And even that looks like crap. Don't piss humans off. They get nasty. So I would totally suggest that we may want to take trade. Well, we got a Wayfarer, so that covers that. You may want to take politics or diplomacy off. I mean, you guys can't be you guys without some diplomacy, but because I don't see a good talky character yet, depending on how you guys skill yourself out. And it looks like David's, for sure going with a bird stalker.
that's what I was thinking. But I mean, yeah, if we're missing, I mean, it only puts us at 2 with any combat. But
And one thing to remember in this is weapons. There is a power decreep in the system. Like Android weapons did a little less damage, but they did more piercing. In this one, a lot of the weapons do a lot less damage. You're not seeing those 10 and 12 damage weapons like you do in Star Wars. You're seeing a lot more multiple shots will have to be fired to take somebody out.
Except everything has frickin' pierce, so armor doesn't matter.
Well, like in any society, weapons of war go quicker than protection. And there is some really cool, expensive gear.
Okay, I'm I'm thinking about taking the Hector Wayfarer.
Okay, so that'll cover a lot of the piloting abilities and some
And
negotiation.
and the Talkie Talkie.
Yeah, the
that
Wayfarer will
leads.
cover astrocartography, which is super important. Charm, gunnery, knowledge lore, mechanics, negotiation, piloting, and streetwise. So if he can negotiate it or smile it away, he's got that covered.
Yep. So that covers versus having a need for a dedicated liaison per se, but
He can
And
get him for
I'm actually hoping to take all of the owes me one favors types of talents.
those. There are some good options. As a piloty type too, don't forget that Let's Ride is an important one too. I'm a huge fan of the Let's Ride, mainly because it lets you jump from station to station if need be. And if you're looking to get some business on the side, there's a new talent called Sound Investments, which is a good one too in that book.
Now, my first character had that. That was neat.
Is that where you get like 100 currency every game?
Oh no, this is a new one for this setting.
Ah,
It's on page
is that
54 of the book.
is that like a tier 2?
Yeah, it's a tier 2.
I hadn't even looked at tier 2, just at the ones.
Yeah, Sound Investments. It's a passive. At the beginning of each game session, your character receives cash equal to their ranks in sound investment times 100. How your character earns this money is up to you and your GM, and it could represent actual business investments, or inheritance, or legal or illegal side business, even bribes or blackmail money. So automatically you're getting, 100 credits coming to you at the beginning of the game session. It's like, hey guys, remember that few cubic feet of storage space I saved up? I put that to good use. On this planet, I know what you buy cheap, and on that planet, I know you buy high.
Yeah, I was half tempted to figure out a Nazroka character, but I'm like, I don't feel like that much work.
So, like, just to give our shepherd an idea there, for tier 2, there's a cool ability called Shepherding Command. Um, once per encounter, when an ally is within short range, is the target of an attack, your character can reduce the damage dealt by that attack equal to your ranks and leadership before damage is reduced by soak. So you yell at them to get the hell out of the way.
that's kind of nifty.
But yeah, they've definitely put some fun ones in there. Like the one I was talking about is Gunslinger Diplomacy. If your character is armed, you may use this talent conscientiously displaying your weapon to add 2 successes and a threat to the result of the next social check. And then, of course, if you're going with a melee type, they've got the, well, even a ranged type could use it, but combined arms. When your character is engaged with an enemy, your GM or fellow players may not spend threat to cause your character to be hit by an ally's ranged attack. So if you're going to be like sword fighting Levnet and you're going to get into it with guys with blades, you cannot be shot by friendlies.
It's always good.
It's a pretty good deal. Drop soldier or
So, on the base equipment, the Trailblazer starts with the beam rifle, which is like 900 credits. So, if I could go with the bow, which is 500 credits instead.
I'll totally give you that as a swap out.
I mean,
I mean,
losing money on the deal.
DC's staying and I'm coming out ahead, so.
Yeah, losing 400 credits on the deal.
You get your standard loadout kit and you're just like throwing the gun back. Give me the bow. However, definitely look at the gravity quiver. I think it's quantum quiver. That's the one.
I doubt I could buy it, but
it's something to keep an eye on the shopping list.
Yeah, because it's only with the kit. What do I get? 2d10 or something in credits.
Yeah, it's a tiny.
Yeah. Yeah, 2d10 RL. So it's like, yeah, okay. Enough to buy a drink, barely.
The nice thing is you do have dermal sealer just in case, and that's totally stem of the setting.
Now the question is, I still haven't figured out, is the ascending rig or the perimeter beacon? It's like,
I mean, the rig is good if you're going to be climbing, but the beacon is better for the ship.
Well, no, the perimeter beacon's a mobile beacon you set up if you're out in the field.
Yeah, but you can totally use that for your ship, you know. Put that at a choke point on the way to your ship.
Oh, yeah.
Just saying. Invisible microwave fence type of dealio, you know.
It's a drone. It's like a little bipod that launches a drone off of it.
Super
So
good
it's
way
a little.
of keeping your ride safe, or hotel.
What's that?
Super good way of keeping your ride safe, or the hotel you're staying at.
Yeah.
We would like the hotel with the suites attached to the common room, so I can put that in the common room. Go back to my notes. Does that sound like everybody's picked? It does sound like everyone's picked.
Yeah.
So we got a trail stalker, which means there's definitely going to be some outdoorsy type planets, because that speaks to me that we need them, you know, because you don't want a trail stalker in some cyberpunk city. So,
I'm sure
Evan,
work cities too.
have you decided on drop soldier for straight on combat or shepherd for a couple different things?
I think I'll go with shepherd.
So I totally sense that we'll have my boyfriend's bodyguard moments.
Sorry, dropped out for a sec.
No problem. And Scott, you're going with the Wayfarer for sure?
Yeah, the Hakan Wayfarer.
Okay.
I'm gonna call him Percy.
I can only think of all the old Wing Commander game jokes about the furballs.
So, okay, so how is the Wayfarer in combat?
The Wayfarer in combat has, basically at best they're pistol people. I mean, they don't
And the
really
Trail
have a lot of
Stalker is
combat
like,
skill, just ranged light.
gotcha. And
I
the
mean,
Trail Stalker is kind of like a melee or a bowman or something.
sniper scout type of character. That's the generic of what they are, the sniper scout, and then depending on how they tweak the skills.
I'm happy to switch to the ninja if that would serve our purposes better.
No, I think we need the intelligent mechanic part
Okay.
because we have,
You totally covered,
basically two potential combatants.
and you covered the medical and the computers, which nobody's got good crunchy feels on. And of course, anyone that's got an Intel of 4 is always good in any situation.
Yeah. Oh, so if you've got some skill in, gonna take the skill in medicine, I wonder.
I was thinking I would, but again,
Well, he'll have 4 intelligence for medicine, if nothing else. So, So, yeah, he throws gold in there. He's still way ahead of anybody.
And remember, your racial ability is you can say, I have 4 ranks in medicine.
That's true.
So once per day, you watched a YouTube video on how to take out an appendix.
Yeah.
Don't ask me how I did that, but I totally took out that appendix. Surgery's like hacking. As long as the end results are good, that's all that matters, right?
Yeah. Do we have... Oh, no, we don't have sheets yet. All right.
Yeah, I haven't made sheets yet. I think you're all in the chat, so I can totally jump in and get some sheets made up for you real quick.
Yeah, we're all on roll 20.
Because I totally walked away from the computer for a second.
So since I think I'll actually switch it. I'll do an orbital drop soldier because we seem to get a little combat light.
Well, just remember, if you guys are combat light, then that's what the adventures are going to be. It all breaks down to what you guys are capable of. There's going to be some combat because of the bad guys we picked, but there's totally not going to just like overwhelm you guys when you have one guy with a rifle or bow and everybody else is standing around unarmed. I'm not going to do that to you.
Not a lot, anyway.
Just on one bad day, that's all. And then it's a bad day
I
for
will go with the shepherd.
That's still combat.
Yeah.
Right? So.
Yeah, it's kind of a little bit of that too. So yeah, I'll do the shepherd.
That way you can keep us non-combatants safe.
Exactly.
The way I'm saying
it,
you've got 2 characters that can get you where you need to go because you've got an engineer and a pilot, and 2 characters that need to basically protect somebody one way or another. Because remember, protection gigs can be totally, protect a person or you're protecting a planet from a person.
Yep.
And let's see here. So our, excuse me.
And technically, I could potentially fly because, for agility, so.
Oh yeah, you could fake it really well. You could fake
not
it with
gonna
the
operate any.
Skywalker style.
Yeah. Our Hylar friend will be our operator if
Yep.
he ever got a big ship.
So our stalker's gonna be good with brawl, cool, coordination, perception. So you got the seeing thing. Ranged heavy, resilience, stealth, and survival. Then we've got the Wayfarer with the astrocartography, the charm, the gunnery, the knowledge lore, the mechanics, the negotiation, the piloting, and the streetwise. So if we need to deal with anything nefarious, there's your Wayfarer. Then we've got our Shepherd, who's good with the athletics, discipline, driving. So on planet, you've got someone to drive that's good with driving already. Knowledge culture, medicine, ranged light, resilience, and vigilance. Oh my god, if you give him the parkour skills, you know who you've remade.
Except a little less sociable that way.
And then we've got the Field Scholar, who's got knowledge, 2 of choice, medicine, mechanics, melee, so you can totally cut somebody. Operating, in case you need someone to pilot a big vehicle, perception, and skullduggery. Which
Not
makes
sure
me
how skullduggery fits.
It's for sneaking your reports, you know, because field scientists have to fudge reports all the time. Think of how many relics you want to pocket.
That's fair.
Okay, so it looks like we got everybody picked out, which has got some good ones. So funny thing is we will now go to the beginning of character creation. So the idea is for each of your characters there's a background that you want to pick. And let me pop open that page. I should probably open like 5 or 6 copies of the book.
Yeah, I'm trying to use your character sheet that you sent, and it's just not working at all.
The form fillable one?
Yeah.
What's not working on it?
Did you?
Whenever I try and change the characteristic, it's dying on me.
Did you click to enable function? Whatever it comes up with on PDF sometimes, up at the top right, or you have to click the little yellow button that says like enable features.
Yeah. I'm able to type in the I'm able to type in like the character name, species, career, and player. But when I like try and change a characteristic, it just dies.
Well, if you get the character sheets in the game, you can just fill straight to there.
Yeah.
And did you save a copy on your computer and open it there, or are you using the one that you opened from Skype?
I saved it to my computer and I'm using it there.
To which, if I was at work, my answer would be, "When's the last time you rebooted?" That's the cheat answer.
Earlier today.
Yeah, the form should work. I mean, I used that when I made the ones for the one shot last weekend.
Okay.
It's just that remember when you change the characteristic, it's changing the entire sheet. So when you change the characteristics, those will make the whole sheet kind of blip out for a second.
Oh, okay. Maybe I'm just being too impatient.
Could
I mean,
be.
it shouldn't take too long, but
Yeah, it's usually like a 2 to 3 second blip because it basically has to add in more pips on your skill sheets. So
and this is just a basic form fill
basic
Genesis, yeah.
form fill page, yeah. So for your backgrounds, That's going to be a big one in regards to who you are and what you do. So this is going to be before you join the organization. This is the baggage you're bringing with you. So there's only 6 options, but they pretty much will cover everything you could possibly come up with as a story background. You've got the dangerous secret, which, by the way, you can totally keep it between you and and I will totally break it into the game eventually at a time, or if you want me to. And you totally know if I do it, it's going to be when there's a despair and a dramatic moment. Then there's disgraced. It could be you're a drop trooper who failed in some horrible way and you're getting sent here as punishment. Because, like I said, not everybody that's sent to join this organization is the best of the best. Sometimes it's you filled the quota. Then there's divided loyalty. That basically you're loyal to the organization and your parent organization that you're from. And then guess what happens when there's a conflict between those? There could be the hidden past. Maybe you did work with the L1 X1. Maybe you were an informant for them. You totally get to come up with what it is, but these are just, the title is the guideline. And then there's the obligated to serve. I joke about Wing Commander, but there's a joke in that one that there's been a shepherd in every war on Earth going back 3,000 years, So you're obliged to serve where the action is, Earth might be safe from the L1X1, but the galactic in general can get into scraps with it. So, hey, I joined to go find my true enemy. And then the last one is the true believer, that you actually believe in the cause. That this group is here to save the galaxy from itself and to be the best edition of the galaxy that it can be.
Damn zealots.
Basically, you fell for the recruitment poster.
Right?
And I'll
Serve and
totally
be a citizen.
Citizenship is rewarded. And I'll post that one in the Roll20 chat so you got the list. And then comes the hard one. Now, for your agenda, you can either roll or pick. I'm good with whichever, because this is something you're going to role play. So each character is going to have an agenda. I'm pulling up the list real quick. And that one comes from my... So for agendas, like I said earlier, this is like in Star Wars where you can actually choose to take extra agenda, basically, in regards to cash or experience, or both. I do notice that on the cash and experience, you get gypped. That's just my opinion. So
I was going to say, I didn't see anything for getting anything extra.
Yeah, it's going to be on... It's the after the list part, which so... If you go to page 65 in the PDF or 64 in the actual book, it's got number of benchmarks for agendas. So all characters' agendas will have a set number of benchmarks to be completed. Basically, most of them is like 3. You pick 3 things, and these are my 3 goals that I want to accomplish, and I write them into the adventure, basically. So you're feeding me beautiful information that you want to have happen. However, you can increase the number of benchmarks, so you have to do more shit before the big payout. And granted, that's not a problem. It just means you're doing more cool things to give me ammunition to put in the story. So each agenda must have a minimum of 4 completed benchmarks before it can be resolved. If your character fails to complete a benchmark, this does not count against you. They just find another opportunity to complete the benchmark later in the campaign. However, when you create a character, you can increase the number of benchmarks they must accomplish in exchange for the following benefits. So the first benefit is, excuse me, the character can get an additional 10 experience. If you do, increase the number by 1. Or you can give your character an additional 1,000 credits to spend in starting gear. If you do so, increase the number by 1. Or, if you want to go gonzo out there, you can get 10 experience and 500 credits to increase it by 2. See how I say you get gypped? Because you get half as much.
Yes, but you get well.
You get 50-50. You get 10 starting experience and 500 cash. Which we all
Well,
know
you
in
get
Genesis.
150.
In Genesis, everybody's usually cash poor. Which is why I like the equipment package is better because you get more bang for your buck. Even though they joke that those are not meant to be balanced. And I'll totally post those in the Skype chat because they don't come out well on the Roll20 chat.
So these are like the obligations in the Beanstalk.
Exactly.
Pretty much.
Like the favor system in the Beanstalk.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's every Genesis setting has some kind of reward for this, where you can put yourself in a bad position to get some upfront reward. Basically, because we know in all Genesis games, you start cash poor. You start ridiculously cash and experience poor, and we all know that you would like a few more points or a few more credits to get something done. I mean, my personal preference is usually to go with the cash because experience will come down the line, but that's just because I want to buy all the beautiful toys. But I would definitely recommend before you decide, look at the equipment to see is that amount of cash even worthwhile to your character.
And that XP can be used for characteristics, correct?
No, this is after characteristics. So after you've
Nice try.
Yeah, after you've spent your starting experience, you can only raise a characteristic by dedication.
Right.
So this 10 experience would be after you finish the. It basically, shows this is the experience you've learned since you started. And if you wanted examples for the agendas, that's going to be on page 63 of the book or 64 of the PDF. And they come down to, and they give you examples to help get the ball rolling. You need 4, but they give you 3 examples of each, so you just have an idea to start. So the first one is Ascension. Basically means you want to get ranked up. It could be with your homeschool faction. It could be with the current faction. Could be with a faction that you've never worked with if you really want to make life difficult for you. Next one is Revenge, because that's always a great one. The next one is Knowledge, like if our field scientists totally wanted to do. Coming back for knowledge for the university would totally be a thing. However, let's hope the players don't want you having your Blair Witch camera in their face all the time. I could totally see a university social media stream. Losers, check out this new science I discovered. And you see an exploded lab in the background. And then there's Absolution, so basically something happened and you're trying to make up for it. It's kind of the less killy version of Revenge, Then there's Liberty, which is, in this galaxy, sadly, there's lots of slavery and oppression going on. So you could be all about the liberating, which could totally work into the you want to set a planet free that the organization wants to put their thumb on. And you totally can help the locals get away with stuff. Then you've got Devotion. So it can be with another person, with a certain group of people. It could be, a ship's crew that you're dedicated to learn valuable information for them, perform a task, sabotage a mission that would have aided another faction against them. Because remember, you guys are allowed to undermine each other and the team and your parent organization. That's part of the drama. That's why I tell folks this is like Babylon 5, where you have all those dignitaries that are totally wanting to beat the shadows, but they're trying to beat each other too. And then the final one is the resourcefulness, which is all about their example is send or save a large amount of 1,000 credits or more. So if you're trying to send resources back home or back to the organization, it's all about the money, baby. And identify a means by which you can end this agenda rather than continuing to pay. It could be something like freeing a ransomed family member, finding a job for a troubled sibling, or performing one last massive job in order to get enough money for retirement. So you guys will want to pick one of those for your character. And if you're doing extra agenda or just the standard 4. Now granted, when you complete 4, the big payoff is, because basically they hinted that this is a way of complicating things in side missions, but the reward is, and if you want to pick your reward in advance, totally tell me. You can totally put it on your character sheet in the bio tab of, here are my agendas, here's what I want. So the baseline rewards are 75 experience, which that's huge, especially if you
Huge.
figure how much experience you made while doing it. 250,000 credits. Money may not buy happiness, but it can certainly buy the luxuries for your character. An artifact, so there are lots of different species have cool artifacts, so it could be your reward is you end up with this artifact. A faster than light capable starship that your character can operate. So basically you have to have the skills to do it if that's what you want. Command of a warship and a detachable duty assignment, which means you totally get a battleship of your own with some NPCs running it and you get the free reign to go do what you want. You know, you're not towing the line of your navy, you're doing what you want in space with it. And then a position of authority. Whether it's with the Keleres, the Tribuni, which if you could become a member of the Tribuni would be great for your group, because then you can call a lot of your own shots. And of course, they even jokingly say that, by the way, if one of you completes the agenda, all other characters in the group earn an additional 15 experience because they helped.
Nice.
So there is a group mechanic to not just one guy getting 75 experience, you all actually get to cash in a little too. Because you were there with your buddy on the way, even if their agenda was to cockblock you the whole way.
And how many agendas do we have to have? Just one, or?
It's one agenda with 4 benchmarks.
Okay.
Unless you want to opt for more, which is not a bad thing because I mean you're getting experience while doing these things, but you know it just means it'll take longer to get your big payoff. And like in the pre-gen, examples adventure they gave, some of the events were simple as the scientists recording them getting to this cool ruins. And the group just had to be cool with it. Like one of the playthroughs I was watching, I laughed because the one person playing one of the characters was like, and what's the downside of this being recorded? And the example was like, well, this person has to send that tape back to the universities. So it's now public consumption. So say someone was playing that character that wants to secretly let the bad guy get away because they'll fight against the bigger bad. You totally do that. You're caught on camera doing that, so now you might be called on account for that. So, it all works out of, in character. And of course, say you're playing a high-roll field scientist with his mechanical fish tank. Maybe you can pull off a skullduggery and turn on your camera without anyone hearing it go, camera on. What's that red blinking light? Nothing.
It's always like that.
Rubs the ground and then rubs some dirt into the red button. Nothing. Don't worry, I'll
I
edit
don't know
it
what you're
out in
talking
post.
about. It's science. You wouldn't understand.
Yeah.
Science!
Can I have a dangerous secret?
I would love a dangerous secret.
Yeah, any of the agendas you don't have to share with the party.
Yeah. I mean, so for the background with dangerous secret,
Yeah.
that's totally between you and me if you don't want to share it.
Oh.
Yeah,
Well,
you
then I don't want a dangerous secret.
I mean, you can choose to share it, but you can keep all your stuff private if
Yeah.
you choose.
His dangerous secret is that somewhere along the lines he cheated off someone else's paper. And definitely, oh yeah, that's right. I was supposed to make you guys character sheets. I'm falling off here. All of a sudden, I tabbed over to Roll20, and I'm like, wait a minute, nobody's got characters here. And remember, anything you put on your character sheet, the other players cannot see. Only on the bio tab can they see.
How do we know what? Oh, I see. Never mind.
So I got a character in there for you, Scott. And since Roll20 makes interesting names, you can either use or not use the names that come up. Because those are just random generator names.
They're bizarre.
So we can also use one of the 6 suggested names in the
Oh yeah, that's right.
race.
You have the racial
Or
suggestion names.
or modify them
Yep.
accordingly. And if you look at like the faction that you choose, there's also like 3 suggestions there for faction specific agendas. Besides the basic list of agendas.
And they are some pretty good suggestions.
Yep.
Could one of my Ascension agendas be like a contact in a different faction, but not a specific faction?
Hey, if that's for how you're wanting to ascend, depending on which groups you pick, if you're say going with the Keleres, getting a ally in another faction is totally in par with you're getting to know people in your group, which you could totally use, like pick a faction, and that's one of your agendas is to get a high-ranking ally in blah 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 faction, and you could pick that multiple factions. It totally could be you want to have those mysterious bat guys in your pocket because they're mysterious. It could totally be that you want to have the stranger in your pocket because, by the way, everybody totally thinks that guy's a creepy time traveler, and he's probably a creepy time traveler. I mean, in the game, he's got a cool, badass ship that actually is in multiple places at the same time. Or is it? Because if the traveler meets you, he's totally going to say, hey, are you the dude who ordered the takeout or the dude who spilled the drink? Oh, that's where I am. So y'all should be able to see your character sheets. And since we have no humans in the group, somebody roll me a d6. Or d8, sorry, d8, that would be better, because there's 4 of you.
D8.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Ooh, that's going to be nice. So the ship that you guys will be getting your hands on, by the way, will totally be a Hyrule design ship. Why is everything moist?
Here's my credit roll. Ooh, big 6. How nice. Big money.
It's pocket change, enough to buy you one drink.
I don't even know if that'll buy a drink. Price has
Why?
gone up.
Why is he shooting rodents and cooking them? Because he can't afford to go out to eat.
Right?
You could just see you sitting on the wing of the ship, roasting something off of it.
Cooking it? Really?
You're a bird. You want it raw. You got a gullet.
Right?
And like David was saying, if you're looking for factions, you don't have to be limited by your own species factions, but they start on page 67. So you've got the Argent Flight, which are most of the bird folks, who are totally anti-gene sorcerers. You just say gene sorcerers and they get their feathers ruffled.
Yep.
Like, to give an idea for their agendas, they've got identify a Shikari colony world or settlement that is unwilling to join Argent Flight and persuade its leaders to rejoin their people. Identify a specific Mahek gene sorcerer's plot, report them to the Muramation, and invent a means to disrupt them. So basically, just fuck with them. That's your job. Find a means of convincing another faction of the Galactic Council to support the Argent Flight's call to action against the Mahakt. This might be thought through negotiation or by use of underhanded means such as blackmail or deceit. What? You just say somebody else is in charge of the plot to get them involved. You've got the Barony of Letnev. With them, their agendas are locate a powerful cell of new Letnev Union agitators working outside the barony's territory and capture them for trial on Arc Prime. Because they don't like unions. Steal naval technology from other factions to ensure Letnev warships continue to be the most powerful in the galaxy. And probe Sol Federation's defenses, because they still hate humans, and influence on Koran so that at the onset of the war, the world can be seized without embarrassing repeat of the past. The mere fact that these jerks are already planning to retake some of the planets that have gone back and forth between them.
Yep.
We've got the clans of Saar. Those are those, spacer folks. For them, it's basically find them a home. Safety and independence is their thing. If you're playing those cool fire guys, it's the Embers of Ma'at. For them, it's be chosen to become a fire warden by a census of fellow Gashly and compare the undertaking set before you. Identify a Mahek base or military force encroaching on Gashai territory and aid in burning it to ash. Establish close friendships and working relations with a number of other species, providing that the Gashly are more than just enigmatic and dangerous beings hidden behind armored suits. And then, of course, the Emirates of Hakan, one of the coolest factions in my opinion. They know what they want. Their agendas are eliminate a famed pirate who has preyed upon Hakan traders for years. Establish contact with a world lost to galactic society, and then open it up for trade. And by the way, after the Dark Ages, there's lots of planets that fell off the list. I mean, the dude who broke away from his society to start the L1X1s literally burned their equivalent of the Library of Alexandria when he stole the coordinates to a planet and left. So there's lots of things that disappeared off maps everywhere. It's not like the Jedi say, where a planet's not on the charts and it doesn't exist. And the last one for the Hakan is discover a illegal group attempting to duplicate commodities created in a tri-system and take any steps necessary to ensure they do not succeed. No made in China. And then, of course, you've got the The Imperium, which are the very spooky guys. Quiet back guys, they watch things, they don't say much. If you're working with them, it's gather as much information on other species and factions as possible and return that information to the dark for cataloging and storage. That's their secret headquarters that's out in the middle of nowhere in space. Identify a specific potential galaxy spanning catastrophe. Determine a concrete step to prevent it, and then take that step. And then determine the true identity and goals of the being or beings referring to themselves as the Nomad. That's that time traveling dude. Then Federation of Soul humans. Humans are simple. Convince a local leader on Atlas or Kuran to support a more direct ties to the Federation. Or spy on Letnev holdings to determine whether the Letnev are plotting a major military incursion against Sol. It's almost like those two know each other. Identify and exterminate a L1Z1X operations wherever they appear in the galaxy. So if you're playing a human soldier, anytime you see L1Z1X, you just shoot them and you're working for your agenda. And then we have the Ghosts of Croesus. Those are those creepy blue guys. It's find a way to protect against the Mahek's ability to dominate the Croesus people, because the problem is the gene sorcerers can just wave their hands and take them over and turn them into some really badass warriors. Identify other factions' research into wormhole technology and sabotage that research in order to preserve the ghosts' dominance in that area, because they are all about the wormholes. Capture several Crimson Legionnaires, and by the way, that's what the gene sorcerers turn their people into. The enthralled Croesus servants of the Mahek, and return them to Shalarai anomaly for study. So basically, they want to see what happened to their people and cut their own people apart because they're messed up. Then, if you're interested, there's the Mentek Coalition, which is basically the penal colony faction. Basically, everybody put their criminals on this planet, and then Australia got its freedom. Their agendas are eliminate a potentially vile source of enslavement, perhaps breaking up a slave trafficking ring, free a mine or factory full of indentured workers, or inciting a rebellion against a tyrant. Then there's pull off an epic heist, whether it's an act of piracy, true robbery, or some other crime that brings you in a lot of money. What you do with that money afterwards is up to you. And just because everybody hates these guys, identify an L1Z1X probe into coalition territory and figure out how to either eliminate or redirect it. And then we've got the Nalu Collective. Their agendas are insert oneself into a crucial role in the Keleres, become indispensable, then gather valuable information and report it to the collective. Collective knowledge, after all, it's power. Locate and convince a Dura who has left the collective to return to its fold. If they refuse, ensure nobody ever knows or knew of their existence. Yeah, the telepaths don't share. And then suppress an outsider knowledge of our research into Maluk's history and the possibility of shared genetic ancestry between the Drua and the Mishan.
Pardon.
And then we've got the Naz and the Rakan Alliance. That's the two-species race. Emancipate a society or community of sentience from colonialism and oppression, ideally without causing any major diplomatic incidents. There's a reason why none of you guys play them. Lead an expedition to discover either into an unexplored region of the galaxy or discovered region that might have become something other civilized than that is overlooked. And conduct field research, preferably while armed, into the possible relationships between the entropic field harvesting and the alternative dimension of the Volwraith. Is the new technology a weapon that could be used against the Volwraith cabal, or is it something that risks empowering them further? Then we've got the Nomad, who's totally Totally one I like. He took over an independent station by basically blackmail, coercion, and good business deals that he never could have known the outcome unless he came from the future. For the Nomad, it is identify and retrieve any crucial information related to the Mahat, the Vithral, or the Cruce expedition into Archon or related events, because he knows nothing about all three of those factions. They didn't exist where he comes from. As one of the Nomad's agents, select an equally skilled individual, preferably someone highly placed in another civilization's government, and recruit them into this administration. Admittedly, really sweet gig. And then complete a very difficult, very specific, and very odd set of tasks at the express instruction of the Nomad, ensuring that each task occurs at a certain presented time. It's that Rube Goldberg machine of, I know what the events are, you need to do this at the right time. Then if you want to like the bugs, the Noor, theirs are all nasty. Identify a group of Noor who do not believe in the Queen Mother's existence. Eliminate them for sedition. Locate a research-rich world with few or no sentient inhabitants. Bring its location to the Brood and help colonize the world to feed the ever-growing society of the Noor. Become a Gaham, one of the most skilled and feared warriors of the already elite Talkar society soldiery, and have your name immortalized among the Sardak Noor forever. And yeah, they're totally the Sarakai of Dune. And then for the Titans, it is all happy-go-lucky feely stuff. Through researching myths and legends, identify the resting place of several sleeping Titans. Then travel to that location to awaken them. Seek out a band of uncertain Titans who have strayed from the oversight of the UI and the Titan elders, and convince them to reintegrate into Titan hierarchy. Uncover the genetic sequences of a number of rare extinct creatures and then bring them back to Elysium where they can be resurrected and placed into the newly created biodome for preservation and study. Then if you want to be...
Rose Garden.
Yep. The Universities of Jolnar. That's the Hyrule Society. For theirs, it's seek out and eliminate any attempts by other great civilizations or factions to weaponize the Dulok virus. That's basically a artificial intelligence virus. That's the one I was saying that you guys got blamed as a species for its existence.
Oh, right.
Mount an expedition to an alternate dimension, such as the ones inhabited by the Cruce or the Vorath, and return with servers bursting with valuable data. Or complete the thesis of Grandparent, filled with new research, and earn your place in the prestigious Wan Isha University. Because, think about it. They have family lines of their thesis.
That makes sense.
If you want to serve the Winu, after the Lazak's Empire failed, the Great Scourge swept through the galaxy. All traces of the old emperors were systematically extinguished from the galaxy in operations spearheaded by the Barony of the Letnev and the Federation of Sol, which wished to extract vengeance on the Lazaks. Which goes to tell you why they got extinguished, because two of the meanest, nastiest races in the galaxy carried on their vendetta to the very end. The Winu, however, were their custodians, so gain intelligence on the disposition of the great civilizations and the Galactic Council in order to learn who can be trusted to help facilitate the Winu's transition to power. Because now that they're number 2, they want to be number 1. Seek out another faction's repositories of Lazak's culture, technology, or history that survived the Twilight Wars, and then destroy them. Only the Winu deserve to be inherent of the Lazak's culture, and there can be no chance of other sources countering their true, air quote, interpretation of it. Because remember, they're the ones writing the history books now. And then locate proof that the L1Z1X are abominations and perversions of the Lazax, and thus cannot be rightful heirs to the Lazax Imperium. Yeah, they really hate the Fakers.
Well, yeah, because if they get it, then they can't
There's
inherit.
actually a small faction of Winu who basically work with them. They're a cult of cyberized versions of them.
Ooh.
Yeah, they are not looked well upon by their brethren. And then you have the Zacha Kingdom, which is those reptiles. For them, it's pretty simple. Find a worthy Valzak, a great life's work, and carry that to completion. Identify and eliminate a threat to the independence and integrity of the Keleres, either within or outside the organization. And secure the aid of a prominent titan of UI to terraform and help restore Archon Tau to its former beauty. And then there's the Yin Brotherhood, which is a really ucky faction. They're basically all clones. Dad took mom's diseased egg and his stuff and made a bunch of clones that are all the same person. Unfortunately, they all have this disease called gray fever. They have it, but they don't carry it and give it. It's now genetically part of their body, so they look all gray and leprosy-like. Because unfortunately, his wife had it when she died when he harvested her egg for the cloning process. And remember, cloning is a bad thing. But these creepy guys basically made their
Abby something.
They created their own clone facility, and then they found some new technology that they can pump out like 100 in a day. And the reason why they call themselves the Yin Brotherhood is the clones are only male, and the Yin is the mother's egg that they worship. They got issues. For their faction, it's seek out new methods for cloning technology so that the Brotherhood's population can truly grow unchecked. Seek out and eliminate a sole research facility that is studying a cure for gray fire and a way to reverse its effects. The holy blessing of Mayin, that's their father, must not be eradicated from the galaxy. And then set up a secret facility to spread the word of Yin on a planet that has banned the presence of the Brotherhood. On the plus side, wherever they go, they bring great medical technology because their dad was a scientist and doctor trying to cure this disease. So they carry on dad's work at least, except they don't want the disease cured because they make good money by treating people with it. And then you have the Yasarl tribes, those little goblins. Identify and eliminate another great civilization's espionage operation. Operation targeting Yasarl to ensure that no damaging information about the Guild of Spies is released to the wider galaxy. Because the best lie is to convince everyone you don't exist. Be tasked by Guild spies to identify, locate, and infiltrate a secret installation created by another one of the great civilizations, then steal information on the installation, on what the installation is working for, and bring it back to the Guild. And the last one is plant a set of false information in multiple locations to cause another faction to react in a way favorable to the Yasarl. Because disinformation is a powerful tool. I know, that's a ton of stuff.
Don't forget to add on your character sheet under skills at the bottom, culture, lore, and science,
Yeah,
which are 3 additional intelligent skills.
And the astrogation skill. Or the astrocartography is their version.
Oh, yeah.
And you can ignore the, for the melee, the 2 different types of melee, just use the one melee. One melee to rule them all.
What about on the character sheets?
Uh, so on the skill page at the very bottom, you'll want to add some extra skills on there
right?
for the setting
No,
specific ones.
So in the book, it says I have skills in computers. Do I have skills in computer sysops, or I mean, I
Go
have.
ahead and use the
General.
sysops as a general
Okay.
because this is the Android setting page. So
Okay.
just use the you can either create general computers or just pick one of the two and use that as your computers.
Okay.
Because in this setting, it's just got computers. It doesn't separate the two.
Thank you. I will do that.
So just to let you guys know, your ship will be technologically advanced with little care for elegance. Focus on pushing technology to its limits. Most items will include onboard savants and other computerized devices to aid the user, and galvanized steel predominates the appearance, accented with brass or copper highlights. Yay, your ship is very steampunk. Everybody's like, why is that doorway only 3 feet tall? Don't worry, we'll modify it for you.
Are the chickens that short?
The Hylar, yeah, they're tiny guys.
Oh, this is the Hylar ship.
Yeah, it's a Hylar ship. You'll feel very comfy.
Oh, really?
I'll be right at home. Yeah.
See, that D8 was because, I have 2 ships already in the thing, but not of your species, and I figured to make it one of your guys' species. And I had you roll that
Nice.
D8. Went 1, 2 is the birds, 3, 4 Letnev, 5, 6 the Hyrule and Hylar, and 7, 8 is the Hakan. And you picked the Hylar.
Good for us.
Good. Lucky me.
Who knew the ship has an algae pool in it?
Just means it's going to be. You guys will have to wear the environmental suits, not me.
Well, it's not a full water ship. Otherwise, yeah, screw that.
Yeah, it's a ship meant for multiple species.
Too much water is not good for the feathers. All right?
Especially with that green floaty stuff.
Yeah, I don't need mold growing on my frickin' feathers.
Oh, you've got down, don't you? You'll be
Water off
fine.
an eagle's back.
So, just real quick, can you like the Mentac Coalition? You were saying something about the connection in Dune, or so like the Sarkar.
The Sarkar one.
Okay, so that's essentially like a prison colony that trained a bunch of.
No, the Zor, the bugs, they're the Sardaukar.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the Mentec Coalition is Australia. Basically, it started as penal colonies, and then they won their independence, and now they're just like screwing. They're literally the rebels of the setting. They're all against slavery and anyone taking advantage of the little guy. Half of their military is pirates, just to let you know.
Okay.
But
gathered some.
the good pirates, right?
Yeah. I love this force booster. Force booster is a micro thrust booster installed in a wrist mount connected to the handheld tool. The booster activates when a tool is at its apex of its swing, maximizing the force of the strike. So a little rocket controlled like striker. It pushes your hands down. It's like, what the hell? I did not see no quiver anywhere though, so I don't know where you saw that at.
If you look, because I'll give you access. I think everyone should be able to look at the NPCs, but
At the who?
I will see if I can find. I'm sure there's a dollar value of it somewhere. But if you look at Karik on Chark, you should be able to look at the character sheet. On the item page, it's probably something they're saving for the next boost book, but
Must be.
where is it? Oh, if you look on the weapons tab. Is it on the weapons tab? Apparently it's not. Yeah, the weapons tab has the different types of arrows. Oh,
really?
yeah, if you look on the needle bow standard arrow down in its features, you'll see the quantum quiver. You do not run out of standard arrows. When you perform a successful combat check, you may spend 2 advantages to hit 1 additional character engaged with the target for the same amount of damage. So you basically get linked 1 without having to declare it in advance and do extra purples.
Must be one of the weapon ads that name something slightly different.
Yeah.
I'll have
That
to
was
look.
one of the cool sexy texts they released.
Oops. Yeah, the other nasty thing about that bow, I mean, yes, it only does 1 point of damage, but it's also a one crit.
Yeah, you're always critting on it.
I mean, that's pretty ugly. Encumbrance. Okay, encumbrance of 2.
I have to say, I'm trying to look through the different allegiances, and it's like complete overload.
There's a lot of them.
I understand.
You're looking for something different than your normal one, than with your race.
Then the Letnev barony.
What I was thinking of is doing that, like kind of a dual, like dual deal with Soul and Lethnic Barony, kind of like dual citizenship sort of thing almost.
You're a
trying to live
stinking
dangerously.
soul sympathizer.
Say again?
Oh, I said you're a stinking soul sympathizer.
What James said.
Oh,
You're living dangerously. I mean, the
It was a
humans are gonna
thought.
spit on you, and your own people will string you up if they catch you doing that.
The alternative, as I was thinking of, the Mentak Coalition. Because they're like pirates and stuff.
Oh yeah, I could totally see a Letnev Mentek coalition against the Letnev barony, because yeah, your people have no problem with slavery. That's not a problem for them. That's another reason why Soul had a problem with them.
Gotcha. So Lethnek and Mentak Coalition kind of can go together?
No, they would be opposed to each other.
Oh, they're the opposites. Okay.
Yeah, they would be exact opposites. Something did not come through in that attack.
So with the barony, like, who are Lethnek's typical allies?
Whoever they can screw over first.
Okay, that's kind of what I thought the answer was going to be. What about a Mentak Coalition guy because he believes in bucking the trend of his people or something like that?
I will totally support a Drizzt every time. throwing that out there.
That's pretty much it.
Because it's a classic character archetype. My people are evil and suck. You don't have to tell me. I grew up there.
Yeah, and then because I was also with regard to Keleres, like being a true believer in the cause could kind of like go well with that, I think. Just so much to read.
So much data.
Did I break it?
Let me peek over your shoulder to see what you got.
Well, no, nothing will roll now after that.
You may need to refresh. Did you
That's-
break the API script?
Did a reload. So let's try it again here. Because, yeah, I tried clicking on a skill and on a different page thinking, okay, let's try that. Like, nope, no.
Let me try one of my guys and see if it's everybody or just you thing. Ooh, it might be an everybody thing because I'm apparently not able to.
I broke it for everybody?
Maybe. So do me a favor, everybody log out of Roll20 real quick. Let me relaunch the API script.
Everybody out of the pool.
David Pete in the pool.
Find your pool, buddy.
Okay.
Out.
Okay, don't go back in until I say so.
Oh, so you said so?
No, till I say so. Okay.
Are we there yet?
API sandbox. It is restarting.
Are we there yet?
What the hell? Your scripts are currently disabled due to an error that was detected. Please make appropriate changes to your script.
I broke it.
What did you do, David?
I broke it. It does not like that bow. It's like, no, no, no.
Okay, let me go in and try it myself real quick. Apparently, whatever you did on that character sheet, it needed to be deleted.
I just added the bow, man. Copied the information over.
Okay, come on in now. Looks like the water's fine.
Yeah, I like the bow's interesting, the whole concept on it. So the bow and its arrows have no mechanisms of any kind, which makes them completely undetectable by all modern scanning devices.
Yep.
And they're completely silent.
Okay, looks like your bow does work.
Okay. I didn't go in yet. Yeah, when I posted, I didn't look. It actually had the first two items and then the second characteristic was on the second line, so that might have been what screwed it up instead of it being right after.
Whatever it was, you did something.
Broke it good.
Ah, so you got the quick draw there. That's going to be nice.
Yeah. All I got was a triumph. Why do I got a black? Oh, you must have a black out there.
Yep.
Oops.
I put it in there just to have something in the field so it was there.
Yeah. Yeah, and you have to have at least a 3 whatchamacallit to wield it.
Oh yeah, unwieldy 3.
Yeah, agility. Yeah.
Well, think about it. It is a very finicky weapon. And to use it
Yeah.
accurately.
Well, the arrows are like freaking like the lightsabers or something. Each is crafted from a strand of pure beryllium that has been molecularly bonded together. The material reacts in such a way as to create a virtually unbreakable shaft with a nearly frictionless surface, tapering down to a molecularly sharp needle point. Only the rear of the arrow, where the bonding process is interrupted to allow the connection of stabilizing fins, can the arrow be grasped without slipping from one's fingers.
Totally for shits and giggles, you throw one at somebody and see if they can catch it.
Right? Like, hey, here, whoop, up, psych. Like asshole.
See, what I'm hearing you say is extremely unique wound channel. We're looking for someone with bow and arrows. Special arrows.
Yeah. Alright, and Echo Armor.
It's a weird name for the armor.
Or Echo Garment, yeah.
Yeah.
Basically, it's reinforced garb. Like, okay.
Yep.
So, int and cunning.
As our Letnev will totally want to look at getting eventually twin Letnev poniards.
Alright.
Seen throughout the galaxy as a militaristic and stalwart, the Letnev possess countless traditions that can be seen barbaric to outsiders. One such tradition is the Salo-Tasebek, a martial arts that uses 2 poniards when performed slow, methodical movements. Practitioners of this art understand that when sped up, the movement becomes a deadly flurry of attacks. When they're used in the art, they are perfectly balanced twin blades that magnetically clip together when not in use. They require 2 hands to wield.
I don't know which. Are you going ranged or are you going melee? Evan?
Oh, sorry about that. I'm probably going to do a little bit of both.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, if you got a melee weapon, depending on what it costs, the poignards are only 360.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Either taking a little bit of doing the extra agenda, or just asking if I could trade whatever it was for them.
And one nice thing I do like about the comm beads, they basically say it's good to a distance of 1,000 kilometers or orbit.
Nice.
So that way you don't have to worry about your radio being within range. Something nice when the group can just talk to each other always.
Yeah.
Oh.
See, I wanted somebody with a very buoy, the big backpack with the robotic
So
arms.
I'm piloting, right?
It
I'm
looks like
assuming
you
so.
would be. Yep.
Okay.
I mean, I can do it in a pinch. I mean, I do have a 4 agility.
Yeah, I have a 4 also, because I'm taking finesse, so I can use agility with those pointers, perhaps.
That is a nice weapon and talent combination.
Finesse is nice. I have another character with that.
Anything that lets you use your good stat for multiple things is a good thing.
All right.
What is finesse? Is that a trait?
Lets you use agility
It's a
instead of
talent.
brawn for
talent.
attacking with a melee weapon.
Oh.
Melee and brawl
Uh huh.
uses agility instead of brawn.
Yeah, so basically any combat check is going to use agility, which is nice, kind of like have them loaded up together.
Is there something like that that lets you use intelligence instead of brawn?
For combat. Wouldn't that be nice?
Yeah.
But then again, if you're interested in combat, you probably wouldn't have picked the scholar to begin with.
That's true.
Till the scholar's got to cut somebody, and that's what melee's for.
I mean, I do have a collapsible blade.
Yeah.
Sometimes you need a
That's
letter opener. That's all.
exactly. I was
Tim,
gonna say.
did you see my note?
Yep. I was trying to look, but you kept turning the page when I was trying to turn the page to look at it. So I figured
Oh,
I'd wait till you were done.
okay.
And then we got distracted with, David breaking the pages.
Right.
Oh, so here's a question. When I'm putting that into a combat skill, do I need to make a fresh skill or find a way just to finagle the dice roll?
So when it comes to the weapons tab, you're going to have to finagle the dice to make it work right. So basically, the
Yeah.
easiest thing is just add how many extra green you need to add. It's the easiest way.
Actually, if you in the weapon go to modifier and put plus or 2G for green, I think it is.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
exactly.
okay.
Yeah, that's what I was
That'll
thinking about with the weapon.
automatically or whatever
You
you need.
can try to use the customized skill, but sometimes that gets really funky.
Yeah,
So
that's
the
how I did
easiest
my
one,
other.
yeah, is to do
Yeah,
what David was saying: is go to the modifier tab and put however extra green you would now have in there.
Gotcha.
or yellow or whatever
Yeah,
based on the combo.
based on how many ranks you
Gotcha.
pop into it as play goes. Because I'm assuming it's still only 2 right now. 2 gold, 2 green.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. That's why I did mine. On, like I said, different character.
Yep. Yeah, doing the modifiers definitely the easiest way that does not bug.
I'm all about the easiest way that does not bug.
And yeah, that looks good, Scott.
Okay.
Wow.
You shot an arrow into the air. Where it lands, you do not care. But wherever it lands, it's going to leave a tiny
Yeah.
little dimple where the arrow went.
Right? It's really depressing. Like, really?
I mean, I could totally see somebody accidentally slip and drop a quiver, and you just see the arrows go vip, vip, vip through the floor and go, oh crap.
I mean, I've rolled shit for any rolls with that. Holy cow. I might not be as combat effective as I thought. I got to you rolled a triumph, and then I've rolled a nothing and a freaking one success at a medium shot. Like, come on. Gonna have to do better during the actual game.
Get the bad rolls out of the way now.
Right?
Yeah, I'm always astounded at how wimpy a beginning character is.
Yeah, see, that's how you're supposed to be shooting that needle bow.
Right?
I mean,
Yeah, and he has one. Yeah, he has one less freaking gold, bastard.
like where'd that red come from, though? Oh no,
That I
that's
don't
right.
know where you.
That's the entropic arrow. It adds a red to the dice pool because you're basically shooting a black hole arrow. You shoot them
So,
with it, and then it
our
reduces their soak by 3 until the end of the encounter.
so we've got some piloty type people. Do we have a driver? I can do that. I just was wondering if somebody else took that role.
I don't think anyone has drive yet as a career skill.
Okay. Yeah, then
I think you're the planetary driver.
Yeah, that's what I was looking for.
When you're
I was
driving
gonna
the
say.
Pokemobile, that's all you.
Isn't that one of your skills?
It is. I
Do
just
we
wanted to know if there was going to be any overlap.
do we have a planetary vehicle or just a space vehicle?
Well, you technically don't even have a space vehicle yet.
Oh,
But
so
in
we
a
got
pinch,
Not
I'm
that-
sure you can talk your way to borrowing a vehicle in some form or fashion.
that makes sense.
I still think it's funny in the game that the water species and the fire species have a bad history because the water species enslaved the fire species.
Well, yeah, the sucker takes his suit off and he's in his little bubble and starts boiling water. It's like,
It's like, dude, how did you manage this occupation on this planet?
We made it rain.
all right. Under notes, I have my background and agenda. If you want to peruse. It's in the notes, by the way. So
Okay.
I figured that's the easiest place for me to put it.
And on your agenda, just make sure to list which faction. I'm assuming I know which one you are with that list, but make sure to list the faction too.
Yep.
That's a nice, messy choice of options there.
There you go.
Just remember, when the opportunity comes about, you wanted me to make that opportunity.
Right? Oh, yeah.
That moment when your GM is rolling the dice with tears in his eyes and said, "You made me have to do this to you."
Stepping away for a sec, guys.
I'm actually gonna go mute and get me a drink real quick. Be right back.
All right. Oh, shit. That would be interesting. It's like persistent ammo sight. Persistent ammo utilizes miniaturized guidance and maneuvering fields to enable projectiles to strike a target they originally missed. Depending on the projectile fired, the maneuvering is performed via microdirectional fins, maneuvering veneers, or alterations of magnetic energy fields. Once the target is designated, the system scope, any projectile that misses their target circles back around to attempt a second strike. Freaking redirected arrows. uh, wow, variable form weapon. You can basically have it change between a ranged weapon or a melee weapon.
I just realized I've been responding to you, but have been muted, so you didn't hear. I'm stepping away, though.
Nice.
To which I say, I just got back too and unmuted.
Yeah, so I was, I know you were gone, but I was looking. So one of the weapons modifications, persistent ammo sight. So persistent ammo utilizes miniaturized guidance or maneuvering fields to enable projectiles to strike a target they originally missed. Depending on the projectile fired, the maneuvering is performed via micro-directional fins, maneuvering veneers, or alterations of magnetic energy. Basically allows it to turn around and make a second attempt.
Okay, so you're Yondu.
Right, with my bow.
Okay, I'm gonna roll money now.
Go for it. Ooh wee.
1D
I did that
hungry.
right?
Yep,
What
for
the
a field
hell?
scientist. Yep.
No, for Wayfarer.
Wayfarer.
One
Sorry.
D
Yeah.
1D100.
Uh huh. And this is how wayfarers become rich over the long run. I will buy 90 credits of something of value on this planet and flip it on the other planet.
So, let me look here.
The different careers have different cash values.
Apparently, mine suck. All right, let's see here.
Okay, so I have 40 more XP.
Yeah, all those arrows that the one dude has, and that quiver, that must be, because there's nothing quite like that in the thing. So
Yeah, there's nothing in the player's guide yet. It's one of those, I think they heartlessly dropped it on the pre-gen characters and forgot to share it with the game.
yeah, and unfortunately the regenerative ammo reactor doesn't work.
Oh,
So for an
unfortunately.
it's energy weapon only. So I was like trying to figure out how that might apply to, but it's energy. So basically an extra like charger attached. What? So what's the for the extra uh, agenda? It's how much? 1,000 or 10?
It's 1,000 or 10 experience or 10 experience and 500 cash.
Okay. For one. All right.
So for the agendas, we don't have to pick out the benchmarks now. We mention them during play, or do we have to pick them out now?
Well, you want to pick them before we start next session,
Okay.
but you don't have to do it right now. If you want to spend some time to think about it, that's okay. But
I'm still trying to.
You want to have them down by the time we start session 1, so that way I can salt and pepper them through the storyline for opportunities.
Okay. Thank you.
So yeah, and they're totally not set in stone right now. You have time to change them if you want. Just let me know if you change them so I can change them on my notes too.
Thank you. And we put those in the character notes or
Yeah, you can go ahead and put that on the characters page.
bio? Oh. Oh yeah. There.
Yeah, if you put it
But
on the
we don't
bio
have
page,
to-
everybody will see it. But if you put it on your character sheet's first page, nobody but
Right.
you and me will see it.
Got it. And we don't need to worry about motivations.
Well, you still want your motivations in there. Those are
Oh.
just your character's motivations. You know, those are from
Okay.
like the base Genesis book ones, or
Oh.
ad hoc of whatever we want to come up with. And one last session 0 question I have for you guys. So for your somebody that knows you guys, I mean, granted you're newly being thrown together because you're basically somebody just scooped at the next 4 recruits. This one has piloting abilities. This one has negotiating abilities. This one's got the ability to keep a ship in flight. Okay, boom, we filled the food groups we need to on this list and kind of parceled you guys together. And you get that whole remember in Men in Black how he gets introduced to the other armed branches. You know, that's what you guys get is the waiting room experience of meeting each other for the first time. And we'll totally cover that on session 1 of you guys doing your introductions before your handler basically is pushing you out the door to go do a job, because that's what your handler will totally do. So in the Skype chat, I did drop 4, the names will probably change because those are just 4 of my NPC stock page ones that I just totally grabbed them and pasted them in the chat of pick one of the 4 on that list for your patron, you know, somebody who's looking favorably upon you guys, and one that is your nemesis, one that's going to be a pain in the ass on you guys. Just because I like to have an option. So we've got the captain, who is, by the way, from what you guys know, completely loyal to the Keleres and is prepared to counter any threat to your headquarters, even if it means breaking the rules. Then we've got Jahavan, who is a...
Can you put races on there?
I have not created them yet, so...
Okay.
So that, like I said, the names may change. They're just on my little list of NPCs I have written down. But the field agent who is rising through the ranks and who will stop at nothing to climb even higher, just to give you an idea, they're totally one of those, they will step on you to get into a higher spot. Probably not a good one to be a friend with if you're trying to jump the agency as well. Or a perfect ready-made nemesis if you're trying to jump through the hoops. Then we have the Black Widow, who is a... madam who is secretly an assassin, offering her customers anything but pleasure. And you totally know she's a little teeny tiny gremlin, you know. She's got the chameleon skin. You pick the color, she'll change it. And then Nefriti, who wants to know everything that could affect the Keleres activity in the galaxy. So we got somebody who's an information junkie, for good or for bad. So you guys as a group pick one that you like and one that you don't like.
Did you post it somewhere?
In the Skype chat.
Okay.
That's as a group, not as individuals?
That's as a group, yeah.
Okay.
That's just going to be an NPC that I can be ready and armed with for somebody that's like, oh, look, requisition form came in. Good night.
Well, the one that I prefer as a good friend is the last one, the Nefrit Garud, but that's just because my character is about knowledge.
Yes, either the first or last for a friend for me.
Yeah, first and last, and I'm fine with Number 2 being the asshole.
Yeah.
That just makes a great asshole. A field agent who's trying to rise through the
Number
ranks.
number 2 for the asshole for me too.
You guys good with
I
that
mean,
for the pick?
yeah, obviously he's a bully, so I'm all about taking the bully down.
I
He's
will
gonna step
go.
on people.
I will go with the majority.
Okay, so
Well, so we have.
so for your
Well, we
patron,
have
is it
2
number
for the
1 or
bottom
number
guy,
2?
3 for the bottom guy, 2 for the top guy.
So that sounds like a majority rule.
Well,
Look,
other than if Evan could tie it, but
yeah.
Oh yeah, I'll go along with that.
so bottom guy then for our friend, and looks like everybody's good for the guy that'll step all over everybody.
To the analysis.
Yeah.
So you totally have Nefrit who wants to know everything that could affect you guys at any time in the galaxy, which could be handy because you can always make a phone call, but it takes weeks for people to help you. But you can totally call back at the headquarters and say, "Hey, Nefrit, tell me what's going on here."
Yeah. Assassin, yeah, that's okay. She can
Yeah,
come in handy.
assassin's an assassin. But I like that your nemesis is another field agent who's trying to get ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's how he does it. That's our problem. So.
Uh huh. And I will definitely flush them out with some stats. I mean, I'm a huge fan of the fact that you picked a possible talking head to help you guys out, because we failed some skill rolls. Tell us what we need to know. Okay.
Yep. Give us the lowdown. This is what we're doing.
Here's the info dump. But wow. So everybody feel comfortable with what we got for session 0 here?
I think so.
Yeah, I'm still working on me.
Working on.
And
Yes.
so far I've got 25 XP left.
Ooh, that's a lot.
How do you have that much?
What?
How much do you have? 25. Is that? That's got to be before or after, before characteristics, right?
Before what?
The initial
Characteristics.
experience.
Oh, that's still initial stuff. That's after upping 2 characteristics and a couple of talents and a couple of skills.
It is nice when you start out with that big, beautiful 4 and a stat,
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's that can be helpful.
I am definitely talkie.
Nice.
I just saw the talent Xeno Reader.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, skilled mechanics. Nice one there for the ship.
I thought I wasn't the mechanic.
I took
No,
skilled
I
mechanic.
was talking. Yeah.
Oh, okay. No, I actually have it as a profession, a professional skill. So I just wanted to make sure that wasn't me.
I'm kind of looking at where did I put that? That one's kind of cool.
I like that one.
All of a sudden you say, right here.
Exactly.
And then we can't take tier 2s initially?
You
Well,
need
if
to
you.
take 2 tier 1s before you can take a tier
Yeah.
2.
Oh, right, okay, but if we have 2 tier 1s, we can take a tier 2?
Yep.
It's just you can't take a skill past 2 ranks.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's really a tempting tier 2 called shot.
Oh, called shot. Yeah, start shooting things out of people's hands.
Your character uses the aim maneuver to target a specific item carried by an opponent or a specific part of an opponent. They do not add the black to the check as part of the performing the maneuver.
Oh.
And if you're getting to go first, I mean, you got the blue, then you can aim for another blue. And then hopefully your dice are being kind instead of jerks.
I liked there was a combo weapon or something ad where you could make your combo weapon to a melee weapon or back. You could change it back and forth. That's pretty cool. Friends in low places. Nice.
Yeah, but don't you have to be a star or something like that for that one?
Yeah, you have to have certain things, but it's funny skill.
Is there, real quick question, is there a tier talent where some of them give you like an additional thing as a career skill? Is there one specifically like that for melee?
I think there's a tier 2 one that gives you melee as a career skill.
Because I know there's some that are tier 1, but I'm not sure.
Let me bust out the...
Because it's also some of this, I'm a little confused because some are from like Android and some are from this. I'm just trying to figure out what that is.
Do you have the master list of skills?
Yeah, I'm looking at that.
Talents.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
Genesis Talent Expanded Version 5.0. And you're looking for
I got
melee,
That's
huh?
what I'm looking for. Yeah, I just basically want to have melee as a career skill.
Let's see.
Ooh, that's a intriguing skill.
Which one?
Sustained fire.
Oh yeah, that's a nice one.
There's
Basically,
Trimath Contact.
What's that?
Trimath Contact.
Yeah. Is that translate into something on this setting or is there a different one I need to look for?
Yeah, I might have to take that sustained fire.
Yeah, you can just take the Trimath Contact. Tier 1 passive. When you take this talent, your character gains melee or skullduggery as a career skill. Additionally, once per session, your character may collect a small favor from a member of a single organized crime group chosen when you take this talent, even if they do not owe you a favor.
But I think what he's asking is what is the equivalent in this game?
I would go with just that and pick an organized crime group, and that's the one. If it's the which faction are you going with?
Well, I was going to say, or a faction, you mean, right?
Yeah.
The faction I was going with is the Mentak Coalition.
Yeah, so totally go. Tri-Math Contact would totally work for this because, you basically
Okay.
know some piratey types. If there's one of your faction around, you can totally get the small favor from them.
Okay, cool. Thank ya.
What was that tier 2 money talent again?
Sound investments, is that the one?
Yeah, I think that's it.
Yeah, at the beginning of each game session, your character receives
100
I equal to their ranks in sound investment times 100. Yeah, sustained fire, man. Range light, range heavy, or gunnery. I can use the talent to spend 3 advantage or a triumph.
Oh, that's a tier 3.
No, it's a tier 2.
According to the Genesis talent book, it's a tier 3.
Sustained investment in here is a 2.
Use the one that's in the Embers of Imperium.
Yeah.
Because it's basically, for this setting, it's easier to use, basically.
Oh, okay.
So, but yeah, by spending the 3 advantage or triumph, you get a success equal to ranks of sustained fire for the results of all 3 of those skills checks made against the same target until the end of the current encounter.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a persistent success against the same target. And the check doesn't even have to be successful. You just have to have the 3 advantage or triumph.
Yeah, so like with burst quality with grenades, it's that will save your ass in getting advantage over success, because we all know you get more advantage than you get success.
Typically, yeah. Yeah, that one's kind of nice, especially, an extra advantage or a success on a 1-point weapon.
Mm-hmm. Because with that, you're now 100% more damage.
Yeah.
So, just trying to remember how this works. If I wanted to take another rank in that would actually make it. I would have to buy a tier 3, correct?
Yes, yeah. If you're duplicating it's 1 rank higher for the next rank.
Okay, that's what I thought.
That's how you don't get this crazy Wookiee with five rank 1 toughnesses stacking out to 10 more wounds.
Yeah, that would be crazy if you could just keep it at the same tier. Alright. Alright, now I do that. Now to figure out what to do with 500 cash.
Good luck on that one.
500?
Yeah.
How'd you get that much?
Because
He made it. Good.
I took an extra
Oh,
Bobby.
okay.
So I have 5 agendas.
Right.
And I went to 50, 50, 10, and 500. Since I can't buy that that quiver thing.
Ah.
So I'm guessing that's got to be
That one moves
it would be an expensive addition.
That moves it up to 6 mini missions. Is that right? If we take the split one, they get both. Is that right?
For the split one, it's 10 experience and 500 credits.
For 1 more, right?
Yeah.
For 2 more.
For 2 more.
Right?
Oh, 2 more.
Yeah, it's 2 more for that one.
Well, I'll figure out a 6th one then.
That's kind of where I'm at too.
Okay, Jim,
Yeah?
shipping profits?
The talent?
No, for the sound investments.
It's a tier 2 in the Embers book.
Right, no. I saw that. I was originally looking in the talent book where it's a 3, but here it's a 2 because it's easier. I'm just saying family shipping business.
Okay, so that's the source of the income?
Right.
Hey
Or
guys,
clan.
gotta get headed out.
As you get
I
nice
gotta head out
pocket
now.
change.
Right.
Have a good night.
Alright,
You
so
too.
we
Take
good
it
to
easy.
wrap it up?
Yeah, I think I'll put in the things into the notes that you need, and other than that, I'm good as far as I know. Just catch up.
Got the group together. Now we just got to find out what the name of the ship is that will be saddled on you, and the name of the group will be.
All right.
So if you have any
Nice.
suggestions for the group name, put it in the chat.
Cool.
Nothing off the top of my head, but if it comes up. So good night, guys.
All
Take
right.
it easy.
Good night.
All
Have a
right,
good night,
the
guys.
Argent Defenders.
There
Ooh.
you go.
All right. Night, guys.
Have a good night, guys. And we are all ready for the calendar. The 27th, right? Yes, 27th.
Right.
All right.
Okay, so I think I'm going to pick more talents.
Remember, at this point, skills might be your biggest payoff. Unless there's like a special talent you got picked out already that you want. Usually, at this point of gameplay, it's easier to get your skills up than it is talents.
Well, it's kind of a character idea where I'm thinking about getting some of the more know people skills or talents. And anything that I do, I'm not that bad at, and it would take me like, 10 to get better at it.
Yeah.
5 or 10 to get better at it. But I don't think I can, in game, come up with a good idea for the talents that I want. Understand?
Uh-huh.
Let's see. So does that get me? No. Intellect? No. Yeah, like I took diplomatic instruction. Athletics? No. Resilience? No. Yeah, and then also the know people things tend to get you more um, career skills.
Hmm.
So it would wind up, if it's something that it would be taking anyway, it would wind up costing you less XP in the long run.
That's true.
Understand?
Yeah.
I'm just kind of taking a look at what because they'd probably take whatever that is and then like one skill level in it for 5 points. So it'd be 10 points anyway. Do you understand?
Yep.
Sorry,
Oh no, it's
I
okay.
know it sounds like I'm mini maxing, but
No, you're just getting the most bang for your buck. That's totally okay.
it's actually a like I said, character type thing.
Yeah, and if story is reinforcing the choices, that's even better. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and jump off the call. I gotta take the puppy dog outside before bedtime.
Okay,
All right, have a good night.
you too.